Wonderfully done. Crowd really appreciating it. Now we can get down to the business. And the Tongan skipper, the enormous Ben Tamai Funoa, has a little glance toward the Irish 15, who are not blinking whatsoever. If it was a stare down, I think Ireland probably win that. Well, for the best games, you want the best officials, and the man in the middle is certainly one of those, if not the best official in World Rugby at the moment. Wayne Barnes from the Rugby Football Union at Twickenham in England. 105 tests before today. This is 22nd World Cup match, the first away back in 2007. He's assisted by Matthew Carley and also by Craig Evans, who are the two assistants or touch judges. And the TMO is also from England, and he's Tom Foley. I guess, Tony, this takes you back. Your only World Cup game was against Tonga way back in '87 in Brisbane.
It just shows you that the mind slips over the years. I had forgotten that it was actually my last official international was against Tonga in Ballymore in '87. What I can recall about that game was very, very tough, very physical, as you would have expected. I just feel that Irish rugby has moved on so much in the interim that I do think we'll be prepared for that as best we can. And at the end of the day, I do think it'll make a significant difference. But look, they're going to take this game to us. It's going to be extremely physical. That much is guaranteed.
Well, I'm delighted to have Tony Ward here, because that game, midway through it, I thought we'd never see him again. One of the Tongans almost took his head off. And to be fair, the great James Joseph McCoy from Monet near Enniskillen in the county of Fermanagh came over and hit him with the best right hand I've seen for a long time, and it took the guy 10 minutes to get up, and only a penalty was given against Jimmy McCoy. Nowadays he'd be banned for a year. That's all in the past. Here we go. Matthew Carley's waiting for the television people to tell him that they're ready to rock and roll. He's ready to rock and roll, and it's going to be Ireland against Tonga. Ireland's second game, having come through with a very impressive score against the Romanians last week. Matthew Carley says that he's ready to go, and Wayne Barnes has a little check with the Irish skipper Johnny Sexton, blows his whistle, and away we go. Tonga in red and white, playing from left to right. Ireland defending the end to our right, and it's taken in immediately without any further ado by James Ryan. Conor Murray, Johnny Sexton moves it wide, Ireland drive it forward. Tyg Byrne, playing in the second row this week, can play either second row or back row, sets it up nicely. And back to James Lowe, who gets it onto that left foot of his, and the first penalty is conceded by the Tongans for getting themselves offside, and there's no need to do that.
No, although, you know, again, I come back to the point. I just think James Lowe is such a wonderful option. It means that the scrum half, whoever's playing in the 9 shirt, has the two options, either as out half Sexton or Lowe, and Lowe has that fabulous left foot.
As did Rob Carney, one of his predecessors.
I think Lowe is even more effective, to be honest with you, with his left leg.
And skipper Johnny Sexton, right-footed, a bit of a scruffy one, but he finds his touch, and because he's found the touch, it's going to be an Irish line. Well, it was the Tongan number 8 by A.F. Fafita who got himself offside. Line out to Ireland just inside their own half, playing his first game of this campaign. There's Ireland's hooker Ronan Kelleher. Sexton moves it flat. Aki pops it up. Good driving forward by Ireland in the middle of the park. It was Caelan Doris spilled it forward, and referees playing advantage. And here come the Tongans, and there's Charles Piutau. And the referees has he given us? I think it was knocked forward. So this is going to be the first scrum of the evening, and this is going to be very interesting. The Tongan front row weigh something in the region of 400 kilograms.
Probably a bit more than
and that's between them 63 stone, so they're averaging 21 stone a man, which is unbelievable.
Absolutely, even by today's standards. Mind you, you assume that they will tire quite early, given that Ireland should be looking to move them around, which I expect they will. But that was a good steal, and that's something that the Pacific Islander teams are particularly good at, is when it comes to maul, to the breakdown, at forcing the turnovers.
Thank you.
Fortunately for Ireland, I think it was a forward pass.
No football on the field. Wayne Barnes called for it. Yeah, he called for some, but he's only got one on. That's fine. So it's a scrum then to Tonga, just inside the Ireland half, and about midway between the halfway line and the Ireland 10-metre line, smack dab in the middle of the field. Augustine Pulu, not the regular starting scrum half for Tonga to put this one in. One of 4 Tongan players who've represented the wonderful country of New Zealand before switching allegiance, and allowed to do so, to Tonga. He's having a little glance outside him, whereas number 10, William Havili, is poised just on the halfway line. So pull out. Let's see how this scrum goes.
Too much weight.
Ireland free kick for putting too much weight on it. So Ireland determined to take it to those big heavyweights, but they conceded the free kick. I think Tonga will probably ask for another scrum, and they have asked for another scrum. Siegfried Fisi Ahoy, Paula Magamo, and Ben Tamaifuna. The front row. I hope we don't have to say them too often during this game.
Get your balance.
Barnes asking them to maintain their balance. 3 minutes gone.
Balance.
And no scores yet. Tonga all in red jerseys and white shorts, playing from left to right, as we mentioned. Ireland in white with navy shorts.
Keep high.
In it goes. Good, solid-looking Tongan scrum, but Ireland doing okay. Now they bring it to the near side of the field. That's nicely done. Looking for the overlap for Charles Piatov, who comes in. He's tackled inside the 10-metre line of Ireland. Pick up and drive once again by Leva Fafita, the second row. An advantage. Ball was on the floor and wasn't let go by Tonga, who took the ball in, and Ireland will get another penalty. So I see Ireland indiscipline creeping in, Tony, even at this stage.
Yeah, although patience on the part of Ireland defensively. Obviously Tonga looking to take the game to us early.
Someone on the sideline,
I think they'll be happy enough. I mean, this time last week we'd had certainly 1, if not 2 scores already in the game. So a somewhat slower start a week on.
You may well have heard Wayne Barnes saying with somebody on the sideline to make sure that there are footballs ready to be delivered once they go out of play.
Thanks, fellas.
And on screens a view of Andy Farrell looking fairly contemplative. Firstly with pride after last week's performance by his side. He's picked a very strong side this time. As we said, just 4 changes and 2 positional switches. Peter O'Mahony dropping back to his usual number 6. One of them, Murray gets it away with a flat pass, nicely done by James Lowe. Ireland up to the 22 and across the 22 and still moving forward. First incursion into Tongan territory. Dummy by Gary Ringo, who's got himself clattered, but he seems to be okay. He's down and he's let the ball go behind him. Away by Ryan. That was a very bad pass, and Ireland managed to recover it, and they set it up again. Murray changes his mind, comes to the near side. Bundyaki, who for me was man of the match last week, takes it up to the 22. 15 metres in from the near side, taken on by Tag Byrne, gets across that 22, lays it behind him, and Tonga come barreling through the hooker, light years offside. And came off his feet.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment of Aki last week too. I thought he was outstanding. I watched the game back again afterwards, and in every respect he really did stand out in that game. It's interesting actually, the player playing opposite him tonight, Peter Aki for Tonga, played with him in over in Connacht some years ago.
It was a commentator's nightmare. You had an Aki and an Aki.
Yeah, that's right. Surname and Christian name. But certainly they know each other, their games fairly intimately, to put it mildly.
Yes, also Leva Fafita, the second row. Tonga had a season over in the west with Galway. Johnny Sexton, who needs just 9 points to equal Ronan O'Gara's Irish all-time points record, has got a fairly straightforward kick. It's just to the near side, the left of the Tongan post, and about a metre inside the Tongan 22. This should be meat and drink for the Irish skipper, the oldest man now to ever play international rugby for Ireland, and we'll draw a line under that because we don't want to talk about age, either myself or Tony Ward, to be honest. Here comes Sexton looking for Ireland's first points. Stuck it nicely, kept it nice and tight through the post, and we played 6.5 minutes, and Ireland leading pretty deservedly by 3 points to 0.
Yeah, and Sexton will breathe a sigh of relief. No matter how many points you put up when it comes to the next game, the first kick is always on your mind. You could see him taking a few deep breaths before he struck it. Didn't think he got it bang on, but it went between the posts, and that's the bottom.
Yeah, it was really close.
So good start by Sexton, good start by Ireland.
Restart kick by Tonga's outside half, William Havili. Fraser's club will be back in New Zealand. Gathered in by another New Zealander, Bundyaki. A couple of tries last week. Drives forward to the 22, lays it behind him. Murray away to Sexton, who moves it wide. Tag Byrne drives forward. Good support play there by Ryan. Back to Lowe. That's nicely done by Ireland. Very efficient and fairly straightforward. Big long kick down to Charles Piatow. There's that sidestep and a bit of acceleration. Gets himself round.
Tackle!
Outside Hugo Keenan. Tongan skipper takes it up to Ireland's 10-metre line. Now they try to move it. Havili, that looked a little bit forward, but the referee was right on the spot. Play on, and the ball has gone loose. Picked up by Josh van der Fleer. Gets up to halfway. O'Mahony goes into scrum half. Byrne gets it away nicely. Andrew Porter drives forward, runs into a couple of equally hefty Tongan men. Now it's Ireland again. O'Mahony pops it back in field. Caelan Doris gets across the halfway line. Ireland's ball retention is good. There's a Tongan hand in there. Referee said no, he was onside, but he was offside. Changed his mind, and he's given the penalty against Tonga. So ill discipline again, costing Tonga dear.
Yeah, quite indisciplined, and we're only in the 9th minute of the game. It wasn't the greatest clearance kick by James Lowe that time either. Little overcooked, too far infield, and Charlie Piatow, as we know, will counter-attack, give it any opportunity at all, and he can be lethal.
Push around those fringes. You don't need to. You're doing really well.
He was such a crowd pleaser when he was playing at Ravenhill with Ulster, Charles Piatow. Tony, but I always felt that Ulster didn't use him enough. You know, the ball was kicked to him, and everybody expected him to do something with it. But yet, when Ulster got the ball, they didn't create the space for him to move into and show what he could really do.
But invariably, he gave it a go every time. He's one of the most exciting players, certainly, in world rugby, still.
And has paid too, but we'll not talk about that. Here comes Kelleher on the 22. O'Mahony takes it to the front. Kelleher comes charging round with a flat pass to Aki. Bounces off the first Tongan tackle. Ireland getting closer to the Tongan line. Murray whips it in, pops it up. Well taken by Doris, who gets knocked back in his feet.
Pull that.
And Murray gets it again. Good driving forward by James Ryan. Plenty of support there. Murray goes to the right-hand side, and they make a mess of that. I think it was Andrew Porter who dropped it. And here's a chance now for Tonga, and they decide to kick it. And they have kicked it. And that's going to bounce and bounce and bounce into touch. And Ireland are going back to their own 22 on the far side of the field. And they've lost some 65 metres.
Yeah, that's a little bit sloppy. That's two, one coming from the right and one coming from the left.
No touch.
Quick takeman by Mac Hansen.
Mac Hansen takes it quickly and wallops it all the way down, and it's going to bounce and bounce and bounce, and that might just be a 50-22, because I think that bounced inside the 22. It's kicked all the way down.
You've got to stay alive, not me.
Well, it is going to be a 50-22. So what a great kick that was.
That is some kick by Hansen. He's amazing self-confidence, hasn't he? And he's prepared to back himself anywhere, anytime on the pitch. What a kick.
Missed out last week. Well worth his recall. Great take by Ryan. Murray gets it away. Hansen sells a dummy across the 22. Murray in there quickly. Tag Byrne drives forward. Plenty of tongue and hands in there, stopping it coming back. And the referee's got the hand out, and the penalty at this time goes against Ireland for not releasing the ball on the ground. Difficult when you have 3 or 4 Tongan players over you.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call by Wayne Barnes as well. Tag Byrne, the guilty cup, the support just didn't arrive in time. As you said, 3 red shirts over him almost immediately. And that, as we know, is where Tonga, between that and the maul, that is where Ireland expect Tonga to hit us hard. And while it's early in the game, we haven't been disappointed so far.
Just the 3rd time that Ireland and Tonga have met. As we've mentioned, the 1987 World Cup in Brisbane, and then in Tonga itself when Ireland were on tour in 2013. Ireland won that one by 40 points to 19, and in Brisbane in 87 they won by 32 points to 9. I remember Brendan Mullen scoring a hat-trick, first Irishman to score a hat-trick in the World Cup.
And Hugo McNeil got a brace the same day. We won comfortably in the end, but as I say, it was tough and took a long time to wear them down.
Tongan line out far side of the field there, left on the halfway line. Full complement. Ireland have disrupted, nicely done. Tag Byrne pulls it in, goes to ground, cleverly done by the big prop. Here they come again. Caelan Doris drives forward. well tackled by Tali Tui, the flanker. Sexton moves it wide. Aki steps back infield, gets up to and across the halfway line. Good stuff this by Ireland. Nice continuity. Hansel sweeps it away wide to Lowe, pops it back infield. Good work by Ireland. Hugo Keenan comes in. And the referee, I think, is going to bring them back. The touch sergeant on the near side, Matthew Carley, who didn't have a wonderful game for Wales against Fiji, I have to say. Is happy enough to put the flag up, and I think they're going to come back for a penalty against Fiji. And they're racking up, aren't they, Tony?
Yeah, a lot of questionable decisions in that game. Certainly, I think as again I say, we're only in the 13th minute, but there's very little space out there. Ireland attempting to put width on it. We know Fiji, we know Tonga are going to hit hard, and they're certainly doing that. They were a little bit disappointed this year. I mean, they had, I think, 2 friendly wins against Canada, but they did poorly in the domestic competition, so to speak, the Pacific Islands. But they are a very strong and a very proud rugby playing nation.
And there's so many players who are plying their trade in the top echelons of France and the UK, and some playing in Wales and in the URC. And unfortunately, they've got somebody down injured at the moment. We've played 12 and a half minutes here. Ireland leading by 3 points to 0, and everybody enjoying the weather. It's the number 8. Faya Fafita, who's now 31, plays with the Scarlets, having played before that with Wasps. 11 caps for New Zealand in the dim and distant past. This is 11th for Tonga.
Taking 10 off the ball.
But you're right, Jim, when you go down through the list and you look at the names, for most of the players on the team, they're all top quality clubs spread all over the world. And I think the biggest plus factor for the Pacific Islands has been the introduction of Moana Pacifica and the Fijian equivalent, the Drew, I think they're called. Introducing those 2 teams has brought professionalism much closer to home and helps keep young up and coming players stay at home in the islands.
Glad to report that Faya Fafita seems to be fine again. Johnny Sexton has kicked the penalty for Ireland, and it's a pretty decent one. He's got within a couple of metres of the Tongan 22. The near side of the field, the Irish to left, Ireland playing from right to left. Ronan Kelleher starting his first game since I think the Italy game last year. Throws in, lovely take by Ireland. It was Caelan Doris got up there. And Ireland driving forward, they've been pushed infield. Away comes Van der Fleer. Ireland have set it up nicely for Murray. Looks to the narrow side. Sexton times the pass beautifully. And James Lowe did really well. Was nearly scragged, and Ireland come thundering in, and they do knock the ball into touch. And the referee has said that the player, in this case James Lowe, was isolated.
Yeah, and that's not the first time, as I said. I mean, with Tyke Byrne a few moments ago, and Ireland be disappointed with that, just not getting to the breakdown. I'm not sure what the temperature is there tonight, but it's nothing like it was a week ago. The 35 degrees they had to endure in Bordeaux. But certainly to the breakdown, we're just not at the pace of the game yet, or at the pace of the game and where we need to be.
Yeah, the Bordeaux game, of course, was in the middle of the afternoon. At least they've had the decency to start at 9 o'clock in French time, 8 o'clock in the UK. 14 minutes gone, just a single penalty between them. Johnny Sexton's effort after 6 minutes means it's Ireland 3, Tonga 0. You're listening to BBC Radio Ulster World Cup Rugby.
Is that the same guy?
And the Tonga number 8 is getting a wee bit more treatment. I'm not sure that he is. They may have to look at maybe bringing somebody on. Interestingly, they've done what a lot of people are doing these days, Tony. They've got a 6-2 split forwards and backs on the bench, so they're relying on their pack.
Yeah, I wonder where they got that idea from. We'll be facing them in a week's time. The bomb squad, as they become known, where you replace virtually the full pack. I was just looking at the ages of the Tongan pack before the game, and 6 of them are in their 30s. The only 2 that aren't are the flankers, and obviously they're the guys you want to see getting around the field. But that said, I think 12 of the team are in their 30s as well. So it's an experienced side they have out there tonight, no question. Very little space for either side so far.
Tonga number 8, Faya Fafita, very nearly took Johnny Sexton on him, hit him round the ankles and a wee bit on the late side. I would maybe like to have another look at that. He's been allowed to get up. Peter O'Mahony and James Ryan standing having a wee confab. O'Mahony named as man of the match last week. 2 very good tries, but
Okay.
my money would still have been on Bundy Aki.
2 meters.
So we're going to have a line out, and we're just inside the Tongan half.
2 meters.
That's their right hand side. 5 men in the actual line out itself.
Beyond 15.
That's a good throw and a good catch by the man we were worried about, Fafita. Tonga drive forward, Ireland keep them pinned inside the Tongan half.
Now back you go.
Second row, Sam Lucy plays his club rugby for the Scarlets, trying to set the ball back to his scrum half, Pulu, and he kicks right-footed, pretty high, coming down in around the Ireland 10-metre line. It bounces handily enough, and Ronan Kelleher did wonderfully well to take it into that broad chest of his and pulled it in and got up to halfway.
6, you stepped across him, stop the chaser.
And Peter O'Mahony penalised. You can hear perhaps Wayne Barr saying there, obstruction, you stop the chaser. Imagine Peter O'Mahony obstructing.
That said, I thought the penalty was going to go the other way for being within 10 metres. If they were certainly on the fringe of breaking that. But yeah, clearly O'Mahony, and there's an opportunity, obviously, for Tonga to equalise. So these could be cheap points.
Well, it's a fair old way out for the 25-year-old New Zealand-born Tongan outside half, William Havili. This is club rugby for Moana Pacifica. This is 12th cap. He scored 1 try and 1 conversion for Tonga. This would be a big one as far as he's concerned on his CV.
Obviously, the hooter's not working at the moment.
So coming up to 16 minutes gone, and William Havili for Tongan's first points of this 2023 Rugby World Cup. He's clipped it nicely. It's going to carry, is it? Oh, what a very good kick. Very good kick indeed. That's an absolute belter. And we've got a level game, Tony. Great
That's
strike.
An absolute beauty. And I've got to say, they deserve it, the way the game has gone so far. Both sides. Just watching it back there on the replay, I have to say, you know, if we see it again, we might get a chance to break it down even further. But certainly, it looked as if O'Mahony may have been an innocent party, or in other words, it wasn't done maliciously. Either way, 3 conceded.
Yeah, and the ball is taken in from the restart kick by Johnny Sexton, by his opposite number, William Havili, who kicked the Tongan penalty, and he wallows it and finds a pretty decent touch on the far side of the field. The Irish right. Coming up close to the end of the first quarter, and a quarter given or asked. A little bit of dew on the ball, which is wiped dry by Ronan Kelleher, just inside his own half, other side of the field, Ireland's right. Plenty of options there, well taken in by O'Mahony. He gave away the penalty. Sexton puts it flat. Aki sells an outrageous dummy and spirals round up to halfway. Murray puts it high up into the air. That's a nasty testing kick. But it's spilled forward by Tonga, and the ball bounces up, and here's Andrew Porter, and Porter is going to get in for a rare try. Andrew Porter, his 6th international try, and it was a fumble by Tonga, pounced on by Ireland, and Porter showed them all a clean pair of heels.
He will have enjoyed that. I don't know if it was Mac Hansen, when we see it again, with a little bit of magic, would it pass through the legs after it was spilt by the Tongan defender, as we've seen it comes down, just when the ball goes to ground. And I'm pretty sure that's Hansen that gives the pass through his legs. Here we'll see it closer. We're just seeing the replay again. Look at that. That's a superb pass.
Yeah, he just flipped it up behind him, and Ty Berg was there, and Porter's looking around him, and there's almost a startled look in his face as if to say that couldn't be the try line. Well, trust me, it was.
I tell you, for a prop forward, he's a fair bit of pace, to be fair. I would like to get in his way, Andrew Porter, that is. But that was superb by Hansen.
Well, there seems to be a little bit of controversy about that. Was there a little knock-on? Oh, I think there might have been a wee knock-on by Mac Hansen.
And then by White. Doesn't regather it before it touches the floor.
The first knock-on was by Red. It's no try. No try. Well, that was very sad, because there was a little knock-on by Mac Hansen, who didn't start the game last week as expected, and Andrew Porter will be saying to him, you Egypt, I don't get too many tries and you let me down badly, but I'm sure he won't do that. Anyway, so no try, scrum from the Tongan front row, having a word with referee Wayne Barnes. The first knock on was by Tonga.
Yeah, it's a fair call.
And Ireland couldn't take advantage. There was no advantage to Ireland.
And he didn't actually put it back through his legs, but a reverse pass. It was still a wonderful piece of play had he not knocked it on originally. But as we've seen in the replay, a fair call by the referee, by the match officials.
Well, if you're attacking mode, you couldn't get a scrum in a better position. It's just inside the Tongan 22, directly in front of the Tongan post. Ireland with options left and right. Nicky and Ringrose and Hansen out one side, and the near side they've got Ringrose. Murray comes to the near side, sells it an outrageous dummy, gets away, pops it up to Gary Ringrose, looking for his first try in an age. Ireland get it back, ball was out, and Ireland spilled it forward. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. And away come Tonga. Fafita makes a little bit of ground and knocks it forward.
Out of the ruck, so all offside.
A litany of errors there in the end.
This is very un-Ireland, Tony.
Yeah, I think it was Hugo Keenan, the guilty party. I think he may have spilt the ball from the original half break by Conor Murray.
Scrum, really nice scrum. Really
Murray did well, showed a grip of pace, got the ball away very nicely, and they took it up inside the 5-metre line. The ball was presented back, and Murray was half impeded and couldn't get the ball away to Keenan, and Keenan knocked it on.
Which is most uncharacteristic. He seldom, if ever, makes a mistake.
Well, if ever was a time for a big scrum from Ireland against this absolutely monstrous heavyweight Tongan front row, then this is it. It's a Tongan scrum. It's 5 metres from their line. They're a couple of metres to the near side of the post. The Tongan left. Murray having a wee word with outside half Johnny Sexton, just in case this one could come back. Porter, Kelleher, Furlong. What a front row that is. There's a very good Irish side, the majority of whom were Grand Slam winners as recently as last March at the end of the season against England in Dublin on St Patrick's weekend. What a weekend that was for those of us who can remember a thing about it.
Stay up! Stay up!
It's a good solid Tongan scrum. Conor Murray doing a bit of a showing and get a wee bit of a squeeze on. Good work by Murray, but couldn't quite disrupt. And he forced the Tongan outside half into miscuing very badly, and that's going to give Ireland the line out in a pretty decent position.
I think John Fogarty and Simon Easterby, Paul O'Connell, all the forwards in management will be happy with the quality of that scrum. I mean, Tonga managed to get it away in the end, but Ireland certainly putting on the pressure. And the line-out has gone well so far. I think we've had 7 from 7 on the Ireland throw. I hope this is not the kiss of death now.
And here's another one, Kelleher. No, it's not. O'Mahony gets it back. Murray whips it away to Aki, moves it wide. Little dummy by Gary Ringrose, taken down, sets it up for Murray, moves it to the blind side, taken on by Ireland. Keelan Doris gets away and passes it out to Tag Byrne. This is going to be an Irish try. He's got it down. Wonderful support play from Byrne. Wonderful setup from the Irish back row, and wonderful finish by the big second row. That's more like it.
It's incredible, the mobility. I mean, his ability to read the game, we know. But, you know, covering as a 6 as well. He's a more natural 6 than he is a second row. But to have him in the second row, I mean, there immediately he knows where to support. And is that his 3rd try already in the competition so far? He got 2, I think, last week, didn't he?
He did, yes. There was 4 of them got 2. Aki got 2.
Yeah, and that's his 3rd now tonight.
Third try of the competition tonight, and away he goes, and he had to stretch a wee bit, but there's nothing wrong with that. The referee gave the try straight away and hasn't gone to the TMO, but the initial burst by Keelan Doris, who was missed I think last week, was quite sensational, and he got across the line, and Johnny Sexton adds the 2 points, and that's looking a wee bit more like it from Ireland as we go into the second quarter of this game. First try of the evening.
Yeah, and you know, to be fair, having crossed the line, Andrew Porter being disallowed, I guess that obviously makes up for it. So the pressure of the last 4 or 5 minutes telling, and Ireland back in front again. But they're certainly putting it up to us, and it's certainly what we expected in every way.
So 5 more points and Johnny Sexton will become Ireland's all-time point scorer. 4 more and he will draw level with John Ross O'Gara, who knows this part of the world pretty well, having been here coaching and very successfully too. Water break for the first time. You never had a water break in your day, did you?
No, that's certainly not in our day.
Did you even get an orange?
Very different. No,
and you didn't leave the pitch at half-time, did you?
We would have been charged for it if we did, as you well know. We'd have got a letter from Bob Fitzgerald from the IRFU.
You'd have been charged for the orange, wouldn't you?
Oh, different time, different era. Exciting nonetheless. But yeah, it's an interesting contest. It's everything we expected.
Right, so let's just keep working. I'll keep talking.
Probably the most disappointing fact so far are the couple of penalties that we've given away through the lack of support, through players becoming isolated. I think that more than anything. And yeah, there's been 1 or 2 spilt balls, but there might be a little bit of dew out there as well. There seems to be anyway. But that for me would be the biggest thing so far. Line-out's going well, scrum under no pressure, no visible pressure. So the primary phase of the game, the basics going well. Caelan Doris, you know, I was reading a stat there during the week. He's the only player apparently in the Ireland squad who's actually played in every game in 2023. So clearly that's how highly he's rated by management and by Andy Farrell. And of course he's played in all 3 positions in the back row in that time.
Fantastic.
But he certainly is worth his weight in gold. There's no doubt about it. Caelan Doris.
Going in slightly a bit. Okay.
Yes, and Ireland have dominated in terms of both territory and possession, so they should be ahead.
Yeah, I think that is a very fair comment. We have been on top. We haven't created an awful lot yet, but twice we've managed to cross the line, once disallowed, and as I say, that a few minutes ago makes up for it by Tadhg Beirne.
Tonga defence has been pretty tight and pretty uncompromising and pretty unyielding in terms of points garnered by the opposition. So Havili to get us underway again, drops out from the halfway line, hangs and comes down into the 22, gathered in by Conor Murray, who gets it back to James Lowe onto the left foot, and that's a much better kick. Comes down inside the Tongan half, and away goes Tamo Piao, the winger, gets it to Charles Piatau, who sells the dummy up to the 22 of Ireland, or the 10-metre line of Ireland, and Ireland give away a penalty.
You're attacking the ball fine, flies wrong side, affected a clearance.
Andrew Porter.
Yeah, I don't know if the intention is to kick the ball in field. I'd like to think it's not. And that again wasn't the greatest kick. It wasn't as poor as the last one by James Lowe. But I mean, you know, we've spoken so many times about the quality of his kicking and of that left foot. But I'd like, you know, in terms of getting an immediate exit, you'd like to see Lowe find his touch and then by all means put pressure on the throwing side on the Tongans from the line out. But giving them free ball to run back at us, they're going to do that all night. And that's what we saw there again, and conceding the penalty.
Which Tongan have elected to kick or convert. They're going to have a go at the Irish post. 23 minutes gone now, and Tonga with a chance to close the gap to another 3 points to make it very interesting indeed. Havili, who added one after just 15 minutes. And this one is maybe even slightly easier for the on the corner left-footed kicker. He's hit that quite nicely. Is it coming in? Oh, that's a wonderful kick. What a wonderful kick.
Just scraped inside the right post in the end, but absolutely, they're 2 cracking kicks with his left foot. But there we see, I mean, you know, we've spoken about it. Piatau's going to do that all day long. If he's given free ball, he'll run back, guaranteed. I just like to see Lowe find his touch, even if it's only, I don't know, 5 metres from the halfway line, just to get out of our own territory.
Sexton with the restart, kicks to the far side of the field. It was gathered in by the Tongan number 8, by Fafita, who seems to be fine. Back in the Tongan side. Pulu, the scrum, has to dig it out himself just inside the Irish half. Tongan's skipper Ben Tamiafuna gets across the halfway line and manages to set it up yet again.
And use it!
Pulu waiting to kick once again down that far touchline, the Irish right, and he does just that. He's given that huge amount of height. Where's it coming? It's coming down, well taken in by Keenan, who avoids the clutches of Paulo Ngamo, the hooker, and then move forward. Tadhg Furlong takes it forward. Conor Murray it is, who does a little kick. I'm not sure why it didn't work, and Tonga have got the ball back, and here comes the versatile Fafita, goes and sets it up for Tonga, just on their own 10-metre line. Piatau with the left foot puts it down into Ireland's 22, gathered in by Lowe, who has a wee juggle at it and kicks left-footed, needs to find his touch, hasn't found his touch, and the referee's bringing them back for a penalty.
I've got it.
Now, what was that for, Tony?
I presume he was in front of the kicker, in front of Piatau originally. That's all I can assume. And it's something referees have been told to pick up on.
Charge the ball, not the man.
Barnes saying that the Tongan culprit, who I think was the Solomoni Kata, charged the ball and not the man, gives Johnny Sexton a chance to put it into the Tongan corner, and he's done just that. Ireland could be doing with another try. 25 minutes gone and only 4 points. Only 4 points ahead, Tony.
Yeah, you've got it.
Yeah,
5 metre line. Yeah,
I don't know. I'd like to
get your setup right.
We just saw the replay there.
Get your setup right.
Wayne Barrett saying, playing the man.
Be careful of that dummy. Don't wait and then join.
Charging the ball and not the man.
Yeah.
Anyway, 5 metre line out to Ireland. Porter at the front, and it goes to the back, taken down O'Mahony, and Ireland pop it down. Clever little move to O'Mahony, and Ireland have the ball in the middle of that, and they're driving forward, and the heavyweight Tongan pack have got to be very careful where they go. Keelan Doris is at the back of it. He's got the ball. Can he shunt himself forward? Here goes Doris driving for the line, and Doris has got there. What a try by Keelan Doris. His 5th international try, and that was a real gem. Precision stuff, slide rule stuff, book of logarithm stuff.
Yeah, no, that's off the training paddock, but a very cheap try for the Tongans to concede, paying a heavy price for the late tackle on James Lowe after he kicked the ball, because that's what the penalty was conceded for. And immediately a really good kick by Johnny Sexton, picking up the position and allowing for the rolling ball, and Keelan Doris doing the rest on the back of the work by his front 5.
Oh, he did really well, but it was the initial throw to O'Mahony, who didn't give it back to Murray. He popped straight down to supporting players, and there's a little bit of a gap created, and Ireland took full advantage.
And you would have to see that's been one of the real pluses of the first half, has been the manner in which the line-out has performed so far. Again, clearly a lot of work has gone into it, and it was probably it was one of the weak points from last week's game against the Romanians.
Tough enough conversion for Johnny Sexton, although it's the right side of the field for him as a round the corner right-footed kicker. It's quite tight. He's just outside the 22, about maybe 10 metres in from the near touchline, so not a lot of room for error. Sexton strikes. That needs to carry. Oh my word, that's a peach. What a lovely strike by Johnny Sexton. And to be fair to William Havili, has been outstanding as well. So Johnny Sexton adds 2 more points. Ireland, well, the gap looks a little bit healthier. We have played just about 35 minutes coming up, and Ireland leading by 17 points to 6.
And they're all the simple things. I say simple, really, but they're the basics that Sexton does so well. Finding his touch in the corner, giving Ireland the field position, landing his kicks, penalties or conversions. Havili
left-footed kicks it down the near touchline, gathered in by Bundiaki. Guess what he's going to do? Drives forward, puts the head down, takes a Tongan second row. Lucy and number 8 Fafita out of the game. Back to Conor Murray, who will kick, and it's charged down. That was a bit slowish by Murray, but gathered in well by Peter O'Mahony, who gets it back to Murray, who gets himself caught again for the second time. Ball coming back on the Irish side, but the feathers have been well and truly ruffled. They need to get it back to James Lowe, who's standing there, socks down around the ankles, waiting to receive the pass so he can kick it downfield. Andrew Porter, who gave away a penalty not that long ago, is there for Ireland, and Murray's got himself back into position, and a couple of Tongans waiting to charge him down again, and he kicks right-footed, and he needs to wheak it round the corner, and he hasn't done it. He's got to Charles Piatau, who's well taken down by Keenan, and he's won the penalty. That was a good piece of defending by Hugo Keenan, Tony.
Yeah, and great work by Andrew Porter as well in there at the breakdown. It was Porter who managed to get his hands on the ball when Piatau went to ground, and that forced the penalty. So again, good defensive play by Ireland.
Ireland's 2 prop forwards, Andrew Porter and Tadhg Furlong, who are well and truly world-class forwards. have been playing well. They will not be doing too much in terms of heavy lifting between now and the South African game, which you can hear with us here on BBC Radio Ulster FM as we continue our World Cup 2023 Rugby Odyssey. George Piatow, left leg fairly heavily strapped, tries that little almost goose step like change of direction. Kelleher throws, loves it long, just under Fleer, gathers it and drives forward, runs into his opposite number.
Tackle, always moving.
Teletue. Murray gets it to the narrow side, taken on by Ireland's try scorer, Keelan Doris. Gary Ringrose comes off the right foot, steps back in field. He's well held by the Tongan front row. Murray brings it to the open side. Tadhg Beirne thought about putting it back inside again, changed his mind. Now it's Sexton. That's nicely done by Sexton. Ireland lost possession of it, just about. Yes, they have. Dear, oh dear. Ball has gone forward. And it comes to the wing, and it's Kata, and he kicks right-footed, and it goes straight into touch. And that was a waste of time by Tonga.
Yeah, it was an opportunity certainly to relieve the pressure. Ireland again, just a little
Should
bit.
Ireland have delivered that dummy?
Yeah, you know, that we're just conceding ball at the breakdown a little more than certainly Andy Farrell would like his team to. So that's been one aspect that obviously has to be addressed.
Well, looking at the crowd, you swear you were in Dublin 4 with the green and the fields of Athenry, well taken by the great man Peter O'Mahony, as somebody said. Superman wears Peter O'Mahony pyjamas. Wonderful take by O'Mahony. Good support play by Kelleher, who's back to his best, coming back into behind him. Dan Sheehan is going to be in the mix, we think, for the South African game next week, as well as Rob Herring. So 3 excellent hookers. Bundyaki takes it forward, goes to ground, sets it up nicely. Murray to the open side. Sexton, little flat pass to Ringrose, who's been asked to do a lot of heavy lifting. Murray brings it to the near side of the field. Porter just puts the head down and leaves the ball behind him. Tonga looking very offside, and here goes Tadhg Beirne, steps back in field again. He's got good support from James Lowe. Murray whips it away, taken on by Kelleher yet again, who's been very busy. Yet again it's Murray, nicely done. Sexton, Aki, little flat pass, moved out wide to Hansen. Now what can he do? He's up against Piatow, he comes back in field. Oh, Hansen skinned the ball. What a try by Mac Hansen, not on the field last week. My word, he's made up for that.
That is a superb try. That's one of the individual tries of the competition so far. He had no right to score that at all. It looked like he was running out of space, but he changed direction, he backed himself, and with a couple of side steps. And again, I've got to emphasise to Jim, the role that Porter and Beirne are playing in this game so far. Like, they're both like loose forwards, and given that they're tight 5, the pair of them, they're all over the place. They were central to that. But Hansen had no right. Look at the number of red shirts to step inside there. Poor defence, but he must have gone through 5, 6 defenders in total to score the try.
By the time he tells his grandchildren, it'll be 7 or 8.
He deserves that, in fairness to him. That's a brilliant try. Absolutely brilliant.
Well done, the man born in Canberra some 25 years ago, Mackenzie Hansen. And that's the man born in Dublin some 38 years ago, Jonathan Sexton, to add the extra points as half-time approaches. Just about 6 minutes remaining. Sexton just to the right of the Tongan post and right on the Tongan 22. Well within his compass. Lovely strike by Johnny Sexton.
Yeah, in terms of clocking up points, there's almost a developing ruthless efficiency about Ireland, certainly in these 2 opening games, in the manner in which they're doing it. But I love this try. It's the determination, it's the dexterity on his feet, it's the speed through the gap, and he just backed himself. That's a wonderful individual try, created by his team, but individually brilliant.
He gives Mac Hansen a fair old pat on the head, just as well. The head's got a head protector on, because it's a bit of a thump he gave him, just to say, well done, do it again. Conor Murray gathers it in, puts it back in field. Look, a little bit of a forward pass there, to be honest, to Bundyaki. He takes it forward. He's well taken by Sam Lousy. Back to Conor Murray. Incidentally, Johnny Sexton has now levelled up with Ronan O'Gara in terms of Ireland all-time points. 1,083, because he's got his 9th in this game. Charles Piatow runs back in field and tries to hand off a couple of men in white, and that's not happening. Pulu brings it to the near side of the field. A little bit of acceleration there by Solomoni Kata on the wing. The skipper Ben Tameifuna takes it on, that 26-stoner. And here comes Piatow. Well, wonderful tackle in there by Gary Ringrose that moved the ball out well and is well blocked by Ireland coming across. There's absolutely no chance that the Tongan wing in the far side was going to do anything with it.
But again, the organised Ireland defence, that's the first time really that the Tongans have managed to swing the ball right to left, almost creating an opportunity on the left wing. And that was James Lowe covering. It was he who covered the attempted grubber kick through. So good scramble defence by Ireland.
Bit of worry about the Tongan skipper and tight head prop is holding his shoulder. Ireland have just eased themselves into this, Tony. Should we have been worried after the initial quarter?
Yeah, no, it's just there's a developing self-belief as well in the side. Like, they're not panicking, and they're just, as I said, racking up the points slowly but surely. I mean, bear in mind they also had that try disallowed when Tadhg Beirne went over, so it's been a pretty impressive, certainly last 20 minutes. And again, I would make the point about the line out. That is going well tonight so far.
Under 5 minutes remaining. It was dullish at the start. An early penalty by Sexton, cancelled out by one by his opposite number, William Havili. Andrew Porter had a try disallowed. Then Tadhg Beirne got one, Sexton converted. Penalty for Havili to close the gap. Doris got one, Sexton converted, and Hansen got one, and Sexton has converted. 183 points, level with Ronan O'Gara. Long throw taken in at the back by Ireland. Yes, it is. Kelleher right on that, so quick off the back of that line out. Murray thinks about going to the narrow side. He does, but he kicks this time. That's a big kick, and Hansen's legging it down that far touchline. Well taken by Hansen. And Ifusipita Taumuno Piau manages to bring the ball in and sets it up for Tonga inside Ireland's half by about 10 metres. And it's very scrappy, and Ireland are doing their best and have won a penalty. And you can see the Irish pack are now starting to warm to their task. They must feel, Tony, they have the edge in terms of their fitness and what they can do over this Tongan side.
Psychologically, the momentum is certainly swinging. Forgive me, Jim, I think I gave Tadhg Beirne the try that was his lad. It was Andrew Porter, obviously, as well. But absolutely, you can see that collectively, the squad, and it just looked there for a moment as if there was a possibility to counter-ruck, to go over the ball. They didn't go immediately, but they still got together and managed, as we're seeing now in the replay, and that forced the penalty. So again, an opportunity for Ireland coming up to break to go even further ahead.
Fabulous kick into the corner, top left-hand side, 5 metres from the Tongan line into the Irish line. Well taken in the middle by the enormous James Ryan, who's been absolutely superb. And here goes Kelleher looking for his first try of the tournament, and he gets it down, does he? Where's Wayne Barnes? He said no. We're going to check this one, I believe. Tony, what do you think? I thought Kelleher got over. Did he get it down, though?
I presume he's going to look at the big screen to see. Although, judging by his reaction, I wonder. But I did. My initial reaction was he had managed to score. He should have scored. He did all the hard work in getting up to the line.
Isn't it great to see him back playing again?
Absolutely. To have all three hookers competing, and hopefully Dan Sheehan will likewise will be ready now for to compete for
the try hasn't been given. It's been a goal line dropout, and that hasn't found touch. That's gone into the hands of Caelan Doris, who'll run it across the halfway line, just away from the first would-be Tongan tackler, scrum half Augustine Pulu. Now on and bring it to the near side of the field. Little dummy by Kelleher, goes to ground, sets it up. Aki pops it up. Conor Murray gets to. Here goes Ringrose. A lovely pass by Ringrose, and here goes Johnny Sexton, and Johnny Sexton gets another try. That's his third of the tournament, and that gives him the record, and his teammates know it. They know that he stands out all on his own. It was a beautifully constructed try involving his Leinster mate Gary Ringrose, but Sexton pinned back the ears. and you could see the smile in his face as he crossed that line to touch it down, because he knows this for him is a magical moment.
Yeah, wonderful reading by everybody involved, those on the ball and those supporting, and chiefly Conor Murray with Gary Ringrose and then Johnny Sexton, and he knew as he was coming up under the post that this was a big score, and you can see the reaction of his teammates to that. A wonderful achievement by Sexton, and I have to say a superb try. The support play in general when Ireland have been on the ball has been very, very good. It's just once or twice when we've gone to ground we've lacked that support, but in general it has been good. And Sexton about to add on another 2 now with this kick from under the post.
Well, after almost 20 minutes it was 3 apiece, and now here's the conversion. Johnny Sexton will make no mistake with the conversion, and Ireland, as half-time is just within touching distance, are now leading by a bonus point scoreline. They scored 4 tries, 1 from Johnny Sexton to give him the Irish record of all time, and it's now 31-6 to the boys in not green but white.
It's a massive lead, and certainly given the way the game went in the opening quarter, and certainly 15 minutes, we looked a long way from posting a scoreline like this, but that's a huge lead, 25 points. Huge lead.
Over 10.
Restart by Tonga, goes past the 10-metre line and no more. Well gathered in, mind you, by Tonga. Now they try to move it wide. Number 8, Fafita, makes a little bit of ground, sets it up for Pulu, the scrum half, who's a little bit discomforted by Tadhg Beirne. Havili moves it wide. Good driving forward by centre Malachi Fekitoa, whom we haven't seen very much of at all. The Munster man who won the URC with the
penalty advantage, high tackle.
Southwestern Province. High tackle goes in by Ireland. They just need to watch themselves. Is he going to have a word? No, I think it's just a high tackle, so it's going to be a penalty, and that's about it. Well, you were saying to me beforehand, Ireland have only conceded, what, 2 yellow cards in the past 20-something games?
Yeah, which is absolutely extraordinary. 25 games, 2 yellow cards. The last one is over a year ago. Andrew Porter in the 3rd test against New Zealand.
And you couldn't blame him for doing that, could you? No.
But it's an extraordinary achievement, and speaks volumes for the discipline and what they're being preached and what they're listening to from their coaches. It's an amazing stat. That was the one that struck me more than anything. But they have a little bit more defending here just to get into the interval with that 25-point lead intact.
Tonga have kicked into the corner, albeit by 5 metres, far side of the field. The Tongan left, Ireland defending the area away to our right-hand side. Tongan hooker Paula Ngamo, the 19-stoner himself, 33-year-old, plays his club rugby for Castra, where they know a thing about scrummaging. Here he is. Throws it long, well taken in by Sam Lousy. Tongan driving forward. Ireland need to be on the merit here. We've gone into the red at the end of what's been a pulsating first half, and a very successful one for Ireland. Now Gamo tries to set it up again. In goes Pulu. It hasn't quite made it. And somebody from Ireland has kicked the ball out, which you're not allowed to do. There's lots of things in rugby you're not allowed to do, and I don't understand. And you think, well, why shouldn't I be allowed to do that? There's the ball. Why can't I kick it? And the answer is be quiet. Home to bed, no supper. So it's a Tongan penalty. What are they going to do? 3 points, no good to them, Tony.
No, they have to. I would expect a quick tap. They may go for the scrum, but I think to try and tie in as many forwards as they can. But I would have thought a tap ball would be the logical way to go.
Well, what a half it's been, particularly the second half of the first half, if you see what I mean. With Johnny Sexton becoming the most prolific rugby scorer in Ireland's history.
Good balance, everyone. Balance.
Ty Furlong was the guilty party there, his left foot.
Naughty boy. Scrum to Tonga underneath the Iron post as the Irish support are in full voice. That's a big scrum from a big heavy pack, and the referee's given a penalty against Ireland. Pulu pops it up. Good tackling by Ireland on Peter Aki, no relation to Bundy. But they did play together in the West for Connacht, and referees continued with the penalty, and he's given somebody a yellow card.
We spoke too soon, James.
Somebody going, yeah, well, that's the first one. Yeah, we put the scud on, as they say, and it's guess who, Peter O'Mahony. Off he goes. 10 minutes in the bin, so he'll see out what's left of this first half and the first 10 minutes of the second half, and given the couple of hard games he's played in so far, he'll be happy enough. Actually, he won't be happy enough, he'll be cross with himself, but he'll get a bit of a rest. And that means that with a 7-man pack against them, the Tongans are likely to go for the scrummage. Conor Murray there, just on a slow-mo in front of us, looked a little bit on the high side with one of his tackles. Seemed to go around the neck, but nobody's drawn any attention to that. Peter O'Mahony leaves, water bottle in hand. He'd be grateful for that. And is taken off the field. He'll have to sit out the first 10 minutes of the second half. So can Tonga get something more than a couple of penalties from their outside half, William Havili, to take not quite the bad look off it, but you know exactly what I mean. It's all about all over the place, the scrum. The heavyweight Tongan front row. Remember, they are between them, they are 400 kilograms, which is over 60 stone. But they should have their own TV series. I'll tell you one thing, Tony, I'm glad I'm not picking up their food bill. Charles Piatow comes across and is having a wee whisper to somebody just in case they decide to move the ball to the near side. Piatow is one of 4 on the near side of the scrum, 2 on the other side, and the 7th Tongan back is the man with the ball in his hands, Augustine Pulu. So can they get this one in?
Keep high.
Good scrummaging position from Andrew Porter. Referee telling them all to keep high, and Ireland have done really well there. The ball is coming back, but Tonga haven't got it cleanly, and Ireland have really defended that well with only 7 forwards against 6 even bigger men. Here go Tonga again. Pulu tries to dig it out, pops it up to his skipper. No, he has it go himself. Well tackled by Bundyaki, but he's 5 metres away. Wayne Barnes is playing advantage, and there's another penalty coming to Tonga. Aki is standing in the outside half position. They pop it up to Leva Fafita, one of the Tongan tight 5 forwards, who's well over 30 now. Ball coming back yet again on the Tongan side. We've played 5 minutes and Tonga still can't get across that Irish line, but they may have to come back again. Little dummy there from Aki, well taken down by Caelan Doris, who turns him over. Here comes Charles Piatow. Oh, a bundle of muscle and energy and skill, and great work on the ground by Porter, but the ball's back in the Tongan side. Fafita once again, Leva Fafita in the second row tries to set it up. Lots of space out wide for Tonga, and they're keeping it fairly tight. They pick up and they drive, and Talatue, the flanker, gets it, and here goes the centre. Fekitoa can't quite get over the line, and Ireland digging in yet again. Lots of red shirts in there, and one of them belonging to flanker Talatue, and the referee says no. Is he going to bring them back? Seems unfair to bring them back because he's given them every opportunity and they haven't been able to score.
Dummy, and it lost it forward.
So what Ireland were guilty of, Andy Farrell, as Mike Catt and Paul O'Connell have made their way down from the from where they were perched. Caught a little glimpse of a man who left the RFU for a wee while, and delighted to say that he's back in an admin capacity. Peter Breen is one of the nice guys in the business.
Delighted to see Peter involved.
Fine, good contest, ball spilled out.
Jim, can I ask a very naive question? We're now 7 minutes into overtime in the first half. Where does O'Mahony, and I don't know the answer to this, where does O'Mahony stand in relation to the 10 minutes?
I'm waiting for you.
Well, his 10 minutes start as soon as he leaves the field and the clock starts again, so he'll have served quite a bit of it. Like he can't just say bring him back on the 10 minutes, you know, the 10 minutes starts from the start of the second half, because
even though it's not part of the 40 minutes.
Switch.
Okay, well then I'll tell you it's been a productive 7 minutes. If Ireland can hold up.
I think I'm prepared to be wrong, as I am on a fairly regular basis. Good scrum by Ireland once again against this big heavy Tongan pack, and it collapses in the front row. Oh, here they go, Tonga, are they across the line? They are across the line, and as Vea Fafita, the number 8, who got injured early on in the game, and with Ireland's back row not having Peter O'Mahony in it, who would have been the man to take that, the Tongans have got themselves a try and in a very good position. There was nobody in the flight. Caelan Doris didn't get off the back row quick enough, and Fafita went for it, put his head down, and Doris made a valiant attempt but couldn't manage it, and Tonga have got their first try of this tournament.
They had to work hard for it in the end, and Doris, to be fair, obviously packing down at 8 that little bit further away. More Chris Henry's end than mine, but certainly it's been coming over the last 6 minutes since O'Mahony was shown the yellow card. So 31-13 looks like being the score as we go into the break, with the conversion to come.
I don't know where William Havili has got to. Do we have a football? I don't think he's going to miss this conversion. He's certainly going to look forward to it. 48 minutes now we've played.
Okay, it's now with you. Okay, watch back on, please.
So Wayne Barnes has said as soon as you put the ball down, then the clock starts. But he's got plenty of time. He could do this in his sleep, I'm pretty sure. He kicked 2 very good penalties from long range, and he's added the conversion, and that's the end of what all in all has been a terrific first half of World Cup rugby. And Ireland are leading by 31 points to 13 and put in some very good spells of some very good rugby.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's built on last week. It's a different quality of opposition. Obviously, it's their first game, as we said, but they're a stronger side than Romania, clearly. And Ireland have been in control of the majority of that first half until they conceded the yellow card coming near the end. But 31-13 at the interval in the second game, as the build-up continues towards the South African game in a week's time. We're in a good place. Good performance, good 40 minutes, 47 minutes.
Not that he'll be worried too much about it, but a big night for Johnny Sexton in terms of the Irish goal-kicking record.
And I'm delighted for Johnny too. And he means it when he says that he doesn't think about records, because you can think about those things obviously in time to come. What matters is what's happening out there now. You could see before the game he was nervous, genuinely. But I'm delighted for him. It's an incredible achievement at 38 years of age to be still the scoring machine that he is. And that's his third try, which is tremendous in the 2 games so far. So great credit to his professionalism, his leadership and his ability as a rugby player.
Yeah, they all looked a wee bit on the nervous side. It took them some time to settle. Maybe we're expecting too much of them.
Well, the pressure is enormous. Clearly with the crowds that are out there, with the expectation at home, we're all feeling it here, and I'm sure it's getting through to them as well. But so far they're delivering. And I think that has been a good first half performance. I reckon if Andy Farrell had been offered that before the game, he would have taken it gladly, a lead. Not to be a man down, but the lead he'll certainly take.
And Tony, at what point would you envisage Mr. Farrell making changes, bearing in mind what's coming up against South Africa and a couple of weeks after that against Scotland?
Changes for tonight.
Yes.
I would imagine in the next I would think 55-60 minutes we're going to start seeing changes in the forwards, and it'll spread from there out. That tends to be the trend, but I think he'll empty his bench, because once he gets back to 15 again, we should be in control of this game. We look in control of the game, and I think it's an opportunity to give all 23 a run, and he'll avail of that.
But yeah, Tony, slow start by Ireland at the midway point in the first half. It was honours even, 3 apiece, and then Ireland kicked on. Tries by Tadhg Byrne, Keelan Doris, Mac Hansen, and won by the man himself, Johnny Sexton, who converted them all to give him the outright Irish point scoring record, all on his own. Right at the end, the Tongan number 8 of AF, Afita, scored a fine try when Peter O'Mahony was in the bin, and outside half, William Havili added the conversion. So it's Ireland with the bonus point lead at the moment, not say victory, because we've a long way to go. And at the interval in Nantes, it's Ireland 31 and Tonga 13.
OK, thank you to Jim and to Tony. I think you've earned a well-deserved little break there. That was a very, very long first half indeed. Orla Bannon here in the studio. Chris Henry is with me, and we'll hear his thoughts. But now, at the time, at just coming up to 4 minutes past 9, let's pause for the BBC News.
BBC News NI on Radio Ulster and on BBC Sounds.
And with the news, I'm Bob Huggins. Good evening. The actor and comedian Russell Brand has been accused of rape, sexual assault and abusive behaviour, covering a 7-year period. The allegations have been made by several women following an investigation by The Times, The Sunday Times and Channel 4's Dispatches programme. Russell Brand has used an online video to deny the allegations, saying all of his past relationships had been consensual. This woman told Dispatches how she had been attacked by Russell Brand in Los Angeles in 2012.
He's grabbing at my underwear. I'm telling him to get off me and he won't get off. Like holding me up against the wall. I was like, oh my God, he raped me.
Russell Brand's agent, Tavistock Wood, has issued a statement this evening. It said it had terminated all professional ties with him. In other news, a man in his 80s has appeared before Belfast Magistrates Court on a number of historical sexual offences. The man, who's originally from Northern Ireland, was extradited from Canada yesterday. A man in his 50s sustained injuries to his stomach during a gun attack at a house in the village of Mike in South Armagh. Police say a number of shots were fired at the property in Gullion View just before 2 a.m. this morning. The 14-year-old boy who has died after being stabbed in Manchester has been named as Nathaniel Shanney. His family has described him as the kindest soul. 2 boys aged 13 and 14 have been arrested on suspicion of murder after the attack in Harper Hay yesterday evening. Residents of the Italian island of Lampedusa have been protesting against the thousands of migrants who've been arriving in boats from North Africa. They're demanding that the Italian government and European Union take action to relieve the pressure on the island. As you've just been hearing, in the Rugby Union World Cup in France, Ireland are leading Tonga by 31 points to 13 at half-time. They're looking for their second win after beating Romania last week. Now Lindsay has the weather.
It's a largely dry evening to come with some clear spells for a time before cloud builds and showery rain spreads northwards throughout the night. It'll be milder than last night with lows of 10 degrees. Tomorrow will be a cloudy day with outbreaks of rain which will turn heavy and possibly thundery by afternoon. It'll be breezy at times with an east to southeasterly wind and highs of 16 or 17 degrees.
BBC News.
It's what you love.
I can't wait to go to see it.
A world of entertainment, arts and culture.
That looks cool. I want to do that.
Waiting to be discovered in the Culture Cafe.
We all just took a step back and went, oh, this is something completely different.
With me, Mary-Louise Muir, on Sundays at 3.
Never know who you're going to meet on this Culture Cafe.
And The Ticket with me, Kathy Clugston, on Fridays at 3.
Both here on Radio Ulster and BBC Sounds.
This is Sportsound Rugby.
Listen live, on digital, online or on BBC Sounds.
Well, Orla Bannon here in the studio with former Ireland international Chris Henry. We've been enjoying that first half, very long first half, Chris, and it's going pretty well for Ireland, but probably after about 25 minutes when it was 10-6, you probably wouldn't have predicted that scoreline at half-time, Ireland leading 31-13.
Yeah, looks very entertaining first half. We knew that any side in Test rugby aren't just going to walk over, and fair play to Tonga. They've really stuck at it, and credit to them for putting the pressure on Ireland right at the end there, causing us to force a yellow card, and took their try really well and just put the pressure on. So look, the scoreline at the end probably flatters Tonga a bit. Ireland certainly have been in control of most of that half. They've had really good possession and territory, but Tonga have been fighting really, really hard as we expected, and probably the sort of one of the biggest work-ons for Ireland is just they've lost a few really crucial with the rucks. Tonga have really done well at pinpointing the right rucks to target, and they made a few crucial turnovers against us whenever we probably could have scored a couple more out there. So yes, really entertaining, but certainly it wasn't a complete perfect first half.
No, I suppose if we was to start with that, with sort of the only sort of negative was that sort of giving the ball away a little bit at the breakdown, slow sometimes to get a support man there to the man on the ground. Obviously against South Africa next week, that's going to be very much an area they're going to have to brush up on.
Yeah, and I think tactically, I think there's two completely different games. I think that the first obvious thing with what you're looking at, what Tonga have really brought in that first half, the biggest positives for them is their counter attack, and Ireland's kicking game I think is totally different this week than what it will probably be next week. We haven't really kicked to contest. We haven't wanted to kick the ball out of touch. We've given Charles Piatow so much space to run back, and Hugo Keenan I'm pretty sure missed 1 or 2 tackles, which I don't think I've ever seen him do. So that's certainly something I'm sure they'll talk about, where do they want to keep kicking that way? How can we connect better in our defence? Because as you said, next week's going to be a bigger challenge, just as good at counter-attackers coming at us. But certainly I think a tactic for Ireland tonight is their fitness and keeping the ball in play. I think there's a determined effort to keep the ball in play from their kicks, and maybe in the second half, should they go back to maybe a few more tactical aerial kicks where we can compete, because we know we've got some of the best contesters in the world in the air.
We got some tries for the forwards there early on. Porter had one disallowed, of course, but then Byrne dotting down under the posts after a great offload by Doris.
Yeah, the tries are so Ireland. It's even to think about the maul try that they scored. It wasn't just a simple straight catch and drive. They had a slight variation of changing the point of contact. There's definitely another tactic I think that's obvious tonight is they seem to be really wanting to put the ball, Luke plays, putting it back inside close to the ruck. So maybe they've seen the Tonga, they feel that maybe some of their forwards, as they get fatigued, they'll slow getting around the corner. And we've seen Ireland score so many tries like that from kind of the Joe Smith era, with the past scrum half loops and back inside, and that's sort of led into both Byrne's try and leading into Matt Hansen's bit of genius, his try as well. But there's certainly, I think they're definitely changing the point of contact well and causing Tonga to come around the corner. And I think if we are able to tighten up the ruck, like the ruck speed has been quick, it's just those few crucial ones that they've really contested. If we tighten up on that, the scoreline could really really go in Ireland's favour.
You mentioned Mac Hansen there. He's a bit of a rock star, isn't he? I mean, he was doing the rounds of social media for taking his shorts off after the match last week. But look, he can do whatever he likes, because that try he scored was just ridiculous. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we counted 7 players. I think he ran past, and he had a serious amount of work to do. And I think it's something like that. Look, I've never met the bloke, but he clearly has a huge presence on and off the pitch. And the players, his teammates, obviously love him. And the confidence you have that that someone can deliver a try like that from pretty much nothing. Those are the type of wingers and the superstars you want in a team. And there's no doubt he's going to have a big part to play as this game unfolds. And more importantly, as the heat rises in the rest of the tournament. Yeah, because there wasn't a try on at all. Well, not even a hint of a try when he got his hands on the ball. Yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't seem. You look at the guy, and yes, he's a great athlete, but it was this determination to find the try line. He fantastic change of speed, and it's just ability to see where the space is. He did really, really well, and the pass also wasn't perfect. Big long wide pass, he was keeping his width. I think there was a bounce on the ball, and he had to regather, and that's a serious skill set to have. And he just has one of these guys of like his body language and his presence, and you could link in the whole back three. You could throw Lowe and Hugo Keane in that. They have an amazing just presence on the pitch and the confidence to try things, and it's hard to teach that. It's sort of the personality of this team as well. When you think even back to last week, the way they kept going and going at the end to get that last try, when other teams might have just kicked the ball out, but they wanted to keep going. Is it a sign of how sort of mature and confident and the stage of development this team's at, that they don't panic even when things are going against them? They have these characters, personalities, and you're allowed to express yourself. Definitely, and because they've done it now time and time again, it lets them deep in their core and their psyche know that we've delivered like this before and we can do it again. And whether something, a bad moment happens in the past, Ireland would have let that maybe fester, and another mistake leads to another mistake. But it doesn't seem like this team is like that. That's why the world's best, the mental toughness to let something that's poor happen go and move on to the next job. So really exciting. And the other one who I feel has certainly seems to have lifted himself up in that first 40 was Ringrose. Defensively, he's had because he was quiet last week. I thought he had probably one of his poor games in Irish shirt last week, where you think against a team like Romania where he really would have come into his own. But tonight I think he's carried really well. He's been around the ball, and more importantly is defensively he's made some really good shadow raids in defence. So yeah, really positive that he and certain players are firing. Just to think, if we tighten up, as I said, not giving Tonga their ins, ride out this yellow card, and maybe think about our kicking tactics, maybe to just nullify Tonga's probably most positive. Take the sting out of it. Yeah, probably a bit, yeah. We'll have to talk about Johnny Sexton. He's now Ireland's record point scorer. You've played with him, you've played against him. What makes him so special? I mean, how many times can you talk about him? He's just a competitor, a leader. as a rugby brain, he's just a different level. He knows what everyone else's job should be. He knows thinking 2, 3, 4 phases ahead. He's just such an important person to this team for all those reasons. And it's an amazing achievement for him to have. I'm delighted for him that, again, this is just another thing in this whole World Cup story. The movie star ending, as I keep saying, for Johnny, it would just be perfect for him.
It's just all stacking up for him. So when you think just the 24 points last week against Romania, 16 already tonight, and he knew very well that was the all-important score. You could see just before he ran in under the posts, he knew that was the score that was going to take him past O'Gara.
Absolutely. Like it just shows you he, as I said, what can't he do? He wants to achieve everything and win everything.
Just finally, before we head back, what do you think now will happen in the second half? How long would you like to see Sexton stay in the pitch? How long do you think it will be before Andy Farrell makes changes?
Well, I would like both Props and Sexton off, to be honest, in about 10 minutes. I think if we get one more point maybe, and then it's time to make the changes, because I think tonight is a decent enough time for those players.
OK, well, let's head back to the boys. Tony and Jim, they certainly earned their paychecks there with that very long first half. We'll see how things go second half.
Oh, paychecks? What's a paycheck? As Ross Byrne is on for the all-time record point scorer for Ireland, Johnny Sexton. I think there's going to be another couple of Irish changes. We'll deliver those to you as and when we get them. Find out there's a change too for Tonga. Number 22 is Sonatani Takalua has come on at scrum half. Tonga operating 6 forward replacements and 2 back replacements. I can see the dreadlocks of Finlay Bealham is on for Tadhg Furlong. So Ireland keeping some of their big hitters safe and wrapped up and cotton wool, because they've got bigger fish to fry next week. This time next week we'll be in Paris for Ireland's biggest test of this World Cup, and one of the biggest tests of any World Cup. The mighty reigning champions South Africa. Ireland have knocked the ball down or knocked the ball on, I thought, but the referee said no, and Bundyaki gets himself clattered to the ground. Right decision to make, take off Tadhg Furlong and Johnny Sexton.
Yeah, 100% right. We're in control of this game. We're not taking a poor mistake there by Conor Murray giving away a scrum there to try and take the ball in the air. We're seeing a shot of Sexton here in the background, and you can see the angst all over his face, not because he's not on the field, but because of the mistake. But I think that's a good call, and also gives Ross Byrne precious match time ahead of the South African game in case he's needed. I think Jack Crowley would be the replacement 10. But
yeah, Ireland's still down to 14 players. Peter O'Mahony not yet back on the field of play. Just a minute and a half late in the second half. Remember, Ireland 31-13 up. A late try by the Tongan number 8 by A.F. Afito, converted by William Havili.
Second one, big over lead.
Full penalty against Dave Kilcoyne on the far side, and Ireland have actually changed the entire front row, which doesn't surprise me. So Rob Herring is on at hooker. Dave Kilcoyne hasn't played a game for a wee while, is on at loose head prop, and they've given away a penalty. Now, will Tonga think about closing the gap, Tony?
I would take. I think they're going to. Yes, and I think that's a good call if they can close it. 31-16 half score, and it just plants a little seed of doubt. But certainly the changes, I'm surprised. I thought that it might have been around the 50-55 minutes when the front row changed, but they're on, as is Ross Byrne.
Well, the Tonga outside half who's kicked everything asked of him so far this evening, William Havili, is straight in front of the Irish post following that penalty against the entire Irish front row. I think it may have been Dave Kilcoyne in particular. It looks very straightforward. The pot clock ticks away. Havili strikes it nicely with the left foot, as he's done in the first half, and that's 3 more points to the Tonga, and the score is looking not too bad from a Tongan perspective. It's Ireland 31 and Tonga 16.
No, they'll be happy with that. We should be seeing Peter O'Mahony back on now in the next minute or so, and that'll bring the size back up to 15-2 even. Certainly good finish to the first half and start to the second.
Good tackle, yes, good tackle by James Ryan on Afasipa Tamona Piao, the enormous Tongan right wing 3/4. Good kick by Pulu, the scrum half. Underneath it is Ireland's fullback Hugo Keenan, who jinks and straightens up and goes to ground on halfway. Ireland still inside their own half. Little pop up to Keelan Doris, who's got his mate James Ryan in concert. Hard to tell them apart sometimes. They wear the same headgear. They're both big fellas. Conor Murray kicks right-footed down this near touchline. Underneath it is Tonga. Well taken in, but outside the 22 by Havili. On the narrow side come Tonga. Oh, and Piato very nearly got away. He's got the ball back inside. This is good stuff from Tonga. They're up to the halfway line. The referee, I think, is playing a penalty advantage against Ireland and in favour, therefore, of Tonga. Ball is back in the Tongan side. And he has given the penalty to Tonga, which will encourage them because they have a chance of going down into the Irish territory.
And no doubt they'll avail of that. A little bit of magic there from Piato again. A little reverse pass that kept the ball in play. Superb. A little bit like Hansen in the first half, the one that was penalised in the end.
Yeah, 31-6, and all of a sudden Tonga with 10 unanswered points, and the gap suddenly doesn't look all that magnificent.
That's what I say, they paid the price for O'Mahony's yellow card with the 7 before the break and 3 more since. That's not in.
Hansen whips it in field to Keenan, who moves it wide now. Here's James Lowe, gets it onto his left foot, and he kicks right down the middle of the field. That's well gathered in by Tonga. A little chip kick, and that's gone straight into touch. That's a very careless kick by the Tongan number 10, the outside half, William Havili. He's been pretty accomplished all the way through, but that was poor, and on comes O'Mahony. So I think our sums were right, Tony. He didn't have to start his sentence at the start of the second half.
You are bang on. There's that reverse pass by Charlie Piato inside, but 2 poor kicks by Tongan. First not finding touch, and then kicking it directly into touch by Havili.
Great line-out throw just outside the Tongan 22 by Rob Herring, gathered in by the restored Peter O'Mahony, and Ireland driving forward up to the 22. Herring, who's an expert at slingshotting off the back of Ruxton Mosen. Little chip kick through by Conor Murray. Oh, it's been fumbled. It might be gathered. Oh, it's just been missed. It looked like Ringrose was in there for a try, but he didn't quite gather the ball. Coming back on the Tongan side is the replacement, the Takalua. Referee's playing advantage for an Irish knock-on, and Tonga are rucking and mauling for the ball just outside their own goal line. And Takalua shaping up to kick, but he whips it back to Havili. Havili gets himself caught, but he breaks away from a couple of Irish tackles, and they'll come all the way back, and there's a high tackle by Ireland, and they give away the penalty. It's been sloppy by Ireland this half.
Yes, it has. It's a slow start. They had the advantage given for the knock-on by Gary Ringrose when it looked as if he had an opportunity to score from the grubber from Conor Murray.
Not quite sure what Havili was doing in that particular circumstance, but we know now that he's got the chance of a penalty, and he kicks it fairly long and fairly well, and he's taken the penalty from his own line, and he's taken play up to the halfway line. Well, Tyg Byrne, I think, was penalised for a high tackle. Was there any contact around the neck? Maybe a wee bit high.
Yeah, very, very close. I think it's harsh.
Harsh, yeah. Yeah, that was the hurtling through and knocked the ball on, despite the attentions of the Tongan right wing three-quarter. 7 minutes played in the second half. 31-16 in Ireland's favour. Job not yet done. Long throw to the back, and gathered in by Josh van der Fleer, who's been quietish. Trying to move forward. Murray gets the ball away. O'Mahony bursts through, gets up to the 22. Better stuff by Ireland. Murray now back to Ross Byrne, who kicks right-footed into a wee bit of space where it's gathered in very nicely by the Tongan left wing, Solomoni Kata, and he doesn't find touch. Finds James Lowe, who legs it down the far touchline. Good support play by Bundiaki. Holds off a would-be tackle from Malachi Fekitoa. Doris pops it back infield to Tyg Byrne, one of Ireland's try scorers. Murray pops it up nicely. Ringrose does really well. Avoids a couple of tackles and is tackled rather high, but sets it up nicely. Here come Ireland again, taken on by by Baird. Murray gets in quickly. Ireland's front row's in there too. Ross Byrne nicely away low, moves it wide. Here comes Rob Herring, who's not slow, gets across the 22s. Well tackled. Has he set the ball up? Yes, he has. Well done to Herring. Ross Byrne, nicely done. Hansen, ball knocked forward by Ireland, and the advantage is that Tonga. Charles Piet, I thought about running it. Now they get it out wide. That's nicely done. Solomone Kata kicks it all the way down into Ireland's 22. All the way back goes Hugo Keenan. Can he get outside Kata? Yes, he can. Keenan down that far wing, Ireland's left, and he's still going. That's great work by Keenan. Into the Tongan half from his own 22. Murray in the narrow side. Referee spotted a penalty. Deliberate knock on by Tonga, but he's playing. Dave Kilcoyne absolutely mullered by the Tongan skipper Ben Tamayafuna. Conor Murray sells a dummy. Ireland need to just settle themselves a wee bit. Here comes Ross Byrne. Little chip and chase into a bit of space. He's a bit too long on the leg for that. And they're going to come back for the penalty to Ireland. Enterprising stuff, but not really going anywhere.
No, a mishmash of mistakes there on both sides. It's all a little bit messy at the moment. I guess with the number of substitutions, it doesn't help Ireland settling back into it again. Bear in mind that there's 1 or 2, 3 players, in fact, on the Ireland side now having their first run out. But yeah, a messy start to the second half. You certainly worry if the Tongans manage to get the next points on the board. I won't say it's vital Ireland score next, but it would certainly help.
Well, Finlay Bealham is going off, and that means that Tadhg Furlong is going to have to come on. And coming on are Ian Henderson for Ireland as well. And I think it might just be Ryan Baird who's coming on too, but there's a deliberate knock forward there. Don't know what happened to Finlay Bealham. Good piece of play there by Hugo Keenan, his best piece of play of the game so far. Tonga have changed their hooker.
Penalty.
Sam Mully is on. Gary Ringrose has left the field. And Robbie Henshaw, I do believe, has come on. In the meantime, a very good kick by Ross Byrne down the tram lines on the far side, Tony.
Yeah, so we're certainly emptying the bench very, very early. I didn't see what happened, Bealham. But, I mean, he's only on the field, 10 minutes?
You'd have to worry. Yeah. Particularly with the Springboks coming up. Tom O'Toole, the next man in the line, tight head-wise. Lovely little throw by Rob Herring. And Herring comes round. Nicely done. Bundyaki can't hold it. Sloppy stuff by Ireland. Ross Byrne takes it forward. Ireland 7 metres out from the Tonga line, and the far side, the left-hand side of the Tongan post, didn't get the rest he wanted. The big fella Tadhg Furlong. Murray whips it away, drives it forward. Here goes Henderson, might be starting against South Africa. Robbie Henshaw, nicely done. Here comes Keenan yet again. Good tackle there by Fekitoa. Ireland win the ball 5 metres from the Tongan line. Ireland driving forward. Referee, I think, is calling for a penalty. Advantage up to Josh van der Fleer.
Come back, 8 offside.
Forward from Murray to van der Fleer.
Irish pass was forward, but they'll come back because the Tongan try scores. Sione Havili Taliutu has got himself offside. Ireland won't want to go for points here, will they, Tony?
I wouldn't have thought so. I would imagine it'll be a quick tip.
Well, it worked for Herring last time out.
Mahoney in trouble.
He's just taken on some water. 11 minutes played in the second half. O'Mahony had 10 minutes in the bin, but most of them were served right at the end of the first half, which extended to nearly 49 minutes. So it's Ireland 31, 4 tries. Tonga 16, 1 try. Another Tongan replacement wearing number 20 is Solomone Funaki, who's a back row forward. 6-2 split on the bench, and Ireland kick. They haven't kicked into the corner. They're going to take a tap. Herring puts it down, taps, drives forward. Has he been carried over himself? Yes, he has. That's another try for Rob Herring. He is masterful He gets down so low, and you think, how is he going to get any leverage the way his legs are parallel to the ground? But he gets his toes dug in, and he shoves himself forward. What a great try.
And he does it time and again. For Ulster and for Ireland when he gets the opportunity. He's such a big upper body and leg strength, and he gets such a good low body position. I mean, we're seeing the replay here, and he's no right to get over the line.
It might not be. It might not be.
They're looking to see if there's a double or treble movement.
The TMO was saying that the player was stopped short and propels himself forward with his knees, which he's not supposed to be allowed to do, I don't think. So Rob Herring's try may not count. He's held up short. He's down, and then he propels himself forward, so it's going to be no try, and it's going to be a penalty against Ireland. So chance of creeping towards 40 points is gone. Wayne Barnes was confident there was a try, and you have to go with Wayne Barnes, but in this case, well, we just can't.
Yeah, and to the naked eye, I have to say, I like Barnes. Much like Barnes, I thought that was a try. A triple movement involved, so used to be double movement. That's long gone. Now it's
Rob Herring hoping for try number 5 in an Irish jersey. He's been a terrific player since he arrived from Ulster quite some time ago. Was a flanker originally, played a bit in that position with London Irish, and then came to Belfast and was number 2 to Rory Best for such a long time. Tonga get it away through the outside half where William Habili. Well, we're having another look at that Rob Herring try that never was. Got his head down, and he didn't quite get his arms out far enough in front of him when he had to make a double movement. Line out to Tonga, knocked back on their side, back inside to the try scorer Fafita, who gets across the Irish 10-metre line all too easily, and away come Ireland. So Josh van der Fleer makes a decent bit of ground, gets it back to Conor Murray, has to try and dig it out himself. There comes Byrne. Now to Hansen, now they move it wide. This is better stuff from Ireland. Here comes Robbie Henshaw, dying to get back into international rugby form. Rob Herring, furious about not scoring that try, goes to ground, sets it up. Murray to the near side, the Irish right, back to Ross Byrne, who can't kick it directly into touch. He puts it high up into the stratosphere. That's going to bounce loosely, gathered in by Tag Byrne. He comes in field and then straightens and heads towards the touchline, where he's cut down by the Tongan replacement, and the ball is all over the place in Ireland. It must be very slippery and sweaty out there, because nobody's able to hold on to it.
There's been a lot of quality in the play, a lot of good individual in the game, a lot of good individual play overall, but a lot of poor mistakes as well, ball being turned over. And you just wonder what degree of due, if I can use that word, it's an evening kickoff, obviously. But certainly the ball seems a little bit slippery at times. Even here with the break that we're seeing back by Tonga, the ball lost without even contact, just slipping out of his arms.
Yeah. Number 8, Fafita had it tucked under his left arm, and then all of a sudden he didn't. He said a few choice expletives, I'm pretty sure, frustrated with himself. But the result of all that is we're going to come back, and it's going to be a scrum to Ireland. 14 minutes played in the second half. Ireland haven't added to their half-time total of 31 with 4 tries, one of them from Johnny Sexton, the others from Tadhg Beirne, Cialan Doris and Mac Hansen. All 4 conversions from Sexton, plus a penalty. And as we said, and we don't care if we're being repetitive, he is now the most prolific point scorer in the history of Irish rugby.
Balance, please.
Conor Murray, ball in hand, just outside his own 10-metre line, near side of the field, the Irish right. Peter O'Malley packing down at number 8.
Set. Keep high. Keep high.
That's a good solid Irish scrum with Henderson there in the second row. Referee's penalised Tonga at that scrum. That's well away by Ireland. Robbie Henshaw gets across the halfway line. Murray scoops it and has a go himself, puts it back in field. But they're going to come back for a penalty against Tonga, I believe. Gives Ireland a chance to get down the field. It's died a wee bit.
It has, yeah. And you know, the one thing we mustn't lose sight of is the opportunity for a lot of the replacements who've come on, for the Robbie Henshaws, the Ian Hendersons, the Ross Burns. They've got to maximise Rob Herring too. We would have thought Finlay Beelum, Dave Kilcoyne. They've got to, as I say, make the best of this time they're on and make the requisite impression and yet win the game. Ireland scrum under pressure, but they've got the penalty.
Yeah, Dave Kilcoyne buckling under huge pressure from the Tongan massive tight head. Craig Casey has come on as scrum half for Ireland to win his 13th cap. Good line out. Rob Herring takes it, comes in field. Herring legs it for the line, hold down 10 metres away. O'Mahony fills in for Casey. Dave Kilcoyne raises the elbow a little bit. Referee happy enough with that fend off. Here comes Bundy Aki, puts the head down, still going forward and still going forward. O'Mahony in there to help. Ball back on the Irish side. Casey pops it up. That's good work by Ryan Baird, the versatile second stroke back row forward. Ireland still moving forward. Kilcoyne makes a wee bit of ground, and it's Ireland's turn to give away the penalty.
Isolated, clear out didn't take place. One on his feet.
A little bit of blood coming from the nose of Tadhg Furlong. Good defending though by Tonga.
Good defending by Tonga, but we've conceded too many of those penalties at that breakdown for comfort, and that will be an area of concern certainly to work on in the coming days, because we know how intense it's going to be at the breakdown in a week's time, guaranteed.
Havili left-footed, kicks for the near touchline, the Irish right. On screen's a shot of Paul O'Connell, who's done such a great job as main line out and assistant forward coach of Ireland. What a player he was. So it's a Tongan line out coming up to the end of the third quarter. 31-16 to Ireland, 31-13 at the interval. Replacement hooker Moley throws, not a great throw. Back on the Irish side. Oh, Rob Herring manages to get it away. Pops it up rather loosely, but taken on by Aki. What's he going to do? He's going to drive forward, sets up behind him. Casey to the narrow side. Tadhg Byrne comes in, as is 19 stones to it. Casey gets himself caught offside by Tonga. He just can't pick him up like that. And Tongan skipper got himself offside. Too enthusiastic. And Peter Aki was involved in that as well. So chance for Ireland. Ross Byrne wasting no time. Bit of urgency about Ireland's play. They need to score from here, Tony.
Yeah, they need it, because it's been a messy and disorganised third quarter. And as I said, obviously, certainly from an Irish perspective, with the number of replacements we've had, but the quality has dropped appreciably in that time. Even that's a lucky when we're seeing the replay here of Casey tapping the ball to Herring. Ireland take it through.
Henderson leaves it for Baird. Took the throw from Rob Herring. Ireland moving forward. In goes O'Mahony. Casey barking like a little terrier. Instructions behind him. Referee's given a penalty, and here goes James Lowe, and he's across the line, and that is try number 5 for Ireland, and that's just what the boys in white needed.
That was badly needed, as I said, to arrest whatever sort of momentum the Tongans were attempting to build up, and just to restore the self-confidence as much as anything in the Ireland side. Well taken by Lowe. He made it look very, very easy in the end, just spotting the gap, and then he went inside to Healy, the outside half. Well-deserved Irish try. And that should settle any nerves. I don't know whether nerves is quite the word to use, but any disorganisation that's been there, that should settle it.
Well, it puts 20 points between them, but 3 quick tries, and Tonga are back in this.
Well, they've only got 1 so far, so...
Yeah, well finished, though. I was being slightly silly. Well finished by James Lowe, and Ross Byrne adds the extra points. So Ireland now up to 38, Tonga 16, and we have a quarter of this game still to go. Ross Byrne calling for some water to be brought on.
It's a difficult one, though, as I say, for the guys, because you can understand their personal frustration and how they want to show what they're capable of doing and give the best of themselves, and yet collectively they've got to make sure they seal the win off. That's the #1 priority. So it's hitting the middle line between those two demands. So it's a big moment for a number of players out there, because you would think after today we're looking at the best 23 players and nothing short of that in every remaining game. This is the last opportunity to actually give guys a go, so to speak.
Well, some people may go through this World Cup campaign and not even tug out in the 23.
And that's the nature of it. That's the nature of a World Cup competition. And if your aspiration is where ours is, and rightly so, as potential winners of the competition, it's just going to be tough. Like after tonight, it really moves up. I couldn't tell you how many notches, but we start with the world champions in a week's time. And every game after that, one is as hard as the other, including the Scottish one.
And Scotland have been tough in recent years.
And they're lying in the long grass. I mean, they got
France or New Zealand. What a stinking draw. Absolute smelly draw.
Absolutely. The draw is crazy. That's why, as I say, we've been talking about it, Jim, you just wouldn't write England off because of the draw that they've got. They were very impressive against Argentina. They won with 14 names.
Argentina were hopeless, Tony. I was not that I was remotely biased, but I thought Argentina might beat England, and they never looked like beating them. They could have been still playing, and they would never have scored a try. Mind you, England weren't too good at that either. They had to rely on their outside half.
But their defence was so good. I thought George Ford was outstanding, the way he ran the game and took the responsibility. England were impressive, and Argentina under Michael Cheika were anything but. But don't rule England out. We'll dismiss them at our peril.
Tonga's 150-kilogram skipper and tight head prop has left the field, and on has come Sosefo Apikotoa, who's no lightweight himself. Bundyaki takes it forward for Ireland. They're inside the 22. Byrne whips it across the front of the Irish post, and well away by Tadhg Byrne. That was Ross Byrne with a Y, Tadhg Byrne with an EI. Casey gets it away. Ross Byrne's back in position. He's put in a very clever kick. Where's it coming down? Well gathered in by Tonga. Solomoni Fanaki, the replacement flanker, goes in. Here's the Vailanu, who plays his club rugby in Glasgow. The back row forward takes it forward for Tonga. Scrum half Takalua gets it to the far side, the Tongan right. Ireland getting in there, making a mess of things. Tonga really trying very hard, but not creating very much at all. Now they bring it to the open side. Fanaki makes some ground. Tackle just inside Ireland's 10-metre line. Wonderful defending there by Ireland in the middle of the park by Ryan Baird and Tadhg Furlong. Little dummy from the Tongan outside half. Now they switch it to the near side. Piatau, that familiar dance of his. Tonga onto the narrow side. Taumea Pio tries to set it up. Tonga still in around Ireland's 10-metre line without really making any advance. They're trying to create, and that was spilled forward by Havili. So it's obviously handling is very different. Now Ireland move it wide, and James Lowe can't catch it either. So the humidity is incredible, and it's causing so many passes that would normally be held to be put down. And every single player has got rivulets of sweat rolling off them.
Okay, I think we've been underestimating it. I suppose it's difficult. Very different on the field to off the field.
I think he was on.
You can see some players are certainly struggling.
Yeah, TMO's just told me tackle is bent at the waist.
He's been outstanding. We're just looking at Tadhg Byrne. He's been brilliant again tonight. Like the amount, his ability to get on the ball, it's almost like a magnet. No matter what number he wears on his jersey, but for a second row, he's consistently involved in the play.
Well, it wasn't a bad pass at all out to the left by Hugo Keane. It was a bit lofted, but James Lowe would normally take those with his eyes closed. But they've got to come back for a previous infringement. There's another Tongan replacement, I think, about to be made. As we mentioned a couple of times, they decided to go for six forwards and two backs, which gives them a limited option.
Okay, just to the left. Go on. That's it. Stay there, please.
Tau Kolo Matangi has come on as the replacement loose end prop, so they've replaced their entire front row.
Balance, everyone.
The initial knock on, it seems, was by Tonga. So Ireland will have a scrum. Now it's on their own 10-metre line. And it's just more or less directly in front of their own post as we go into the final quarter of this game. The middle quarter of the game, from about 20 to 36 minutes, were hugely exciting. Free penalty against the Tongan tight head prop. In fact, it's the replacement loose head prop, Kola Matangi, who's wearing 17, but he's playing in the position that would normally be occupied by the number 18. And Ross Byrne has put in a very good kick, Tony.
Yeah, and I like what you referred to earlier on, Jim, in terms of his urgency. He looks as if he really wants to make things happen, and that's what I like to see, because they do happen when Sexton's there, and he's got to bring that aura onto the field when Sexton is gone.
And he's vying with young Master Crowley for the second spot.
Back in.
Well taken by Ireland. Casey gets their way nicely. Robbie Henshaw sets up. Here goes Bundy Aki. He's going to get another one. That's his third of the tournament. And Aki skates in more or less unopposed. He was out just for a wee scamper. All he needed was the dog behind him.
He's been brilliant. You know, not as all-encompassing tonight as a week ago, but again, he's had a big performance in that 12 shirt. A lovely soft pass putting through the hole. I think it was from Ross Byrne. We'll see it again on the replay, but he certainly showed a good turn of pace and swerve to go in to the right of the posts, and that will certainly seal the game off now.
It was a great line out by Ian Henderson, and Aki really put the foot on the gas, and there was absolutely nothing that Solomone Kata could do about it. He was never going to get close. And here comes Ross Byrne for the extras, and he adds them with consummate ease, looking a bit better for Ireland.
And that was Byrne that put the pass through to Aki, a beautifully timed pass.
Great line out by Ireland. Technically, that was perfect, absolutely perfect.
Definitely, but when you do that,
perfect take by Henderson, perfect delivery by Byrne, and perfect finish by Aki.
Okay, I'll speak to him in the next one. Okay, well, I haven't seen one, but
I'll 2 tries against Romania and 1 here against Tonga. Having a much better World Cup than 4 years ago when he got himself sent off against Samoa. That really affected everybody. Ireland restart and head into overdrive straight away. Sam Lousy getting huckled out of it. Tag Furlong wrestles and gets the ball back. Casey goes to the narrow side. Lovely little run by Casey. Sells a nice little dummy, gets himself caught, but he gets across the halfway line. Ireland on the front foot. Oh, Ireland have lost that one. Here they come again, Tonga. Plenty of men outside them trying to get away to Piatow. That's going forward. The referee will bring them back for a scrum to Ireland.
It's a big game for Casey too. I mean, much like Byrne. Obviously, he's competing with Conor Murray. This is his World Cup debut. So, as I say, a big game for a lot of guys out there.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it if he let go, so not quite sure what the offence is.
Just having a look again to see if that was a forward pass. It was a very good tackle by Robbie Henshaw, and the Tongan ball player spilled it forward to give Ireland the scrum. 15 minutes, just a wee bit less than 15 minutes remaining. It's looking like 2-1-2 for Ireland. They might like a few more points just to be sure, Tony.
Yeah, although they've settled down, as you say, it was the third quarter, that 15-20 minutes after the half-time break, when we looked a little bit vulnerable, and of course conceding the try just before the half-time and the yellow card certainly didn't help.
So the shot on our screens of the Tongan head coach Tutai Kefu, who was a wonderful player for Australia, played in the 1999 World Cup final for the Wallabies.
He sure has his stripes.
Scrum to Ireland, just outside their 10-metre line, near side of the field, the Irish right.
Keep high.
Casey to pop it in. Another heavyweight Tongan front row, causing Ireland problems. Casey gets it away. Aki, nice delay on the pass. Away out to Henshaw. In fact, it was Ross Byrne. Ball comes back inside off James Lowe, gets up almost to the Tongan 10-metre line. Casey gets the wee paws in and whips it away nicely. O'Mahony, Henshaw, tag Byrne. Aki goes in to help him. Ireland trying to lay the ball back, and penalty against Tonga for not allowing that ball to be played. A Tongan replacement is just simply all over it. It's Sione Vailanu, another replacement Tongan back row forward, and Ireland will get the chance to kick into the corner.
He has to be seen to make some sort of effort to get away, but he didn't.
And he wasn't.
He just lay there, killing the ball
like a pound of mince. Ray Casey very frustrated. The ball's not coming. Ball's not coming back. Tonga certainly have not lacked the appetite for this game. They put everything into it. They're a very solid side and would beat a lot of other sides, I think.
You know, again, we know about the opposition we played last week is a lot inferior to what we faced today. So it's been a competent Irish performance so far. Indeed, better than that.
Good line-out win by Ireland. Now they worked it back to Rob Herring, thinking about going out of zone. No, moves it wide. Aki has to go himself. He pops it up to Robbie Henshaw, wearing 23. Casey moves it wide to the Irish left, and here goes Mac Hansen again. Can't quite do what he did in the first half. Casey manages to dig the ball out. Little sidestep by Casey. Good support play by Ryan Baird. Henderson is in there as well, but it's Tadhg Byrne picks it up and drives forward. A wonderful player he is, and once again Tonga all over the place, and it's Tadhg Furlong heaving and shoving like a mental bullock, and he can't quite get the ball away. Bundy Aki sells a ridiculous dummy, just pirouettes around, tackled by Kola Matangi, the replacement prop. Casey to the near side of the field. Here goes Henderson, bounces off a couple of Tongans. Casey has a wee go himself, but he might have just given up. He may well get over, but he's still within touching distance. Wayne Barnes telling the Tongans to get back behind their own try line. Ireland right in the middle of it. Here goes Rob Herring, denied a try some 15 minutes ago, not long after he came on, and Ireland driving forward yet again. It looks like it's O'Mahony in the middle of all that. He's got his hands on the ball. Got two last week. Here's Casey. Oh, popped up, and it's Aki again. And Aki gets the second for the second week in a row. 2 games, 4 tries. And what a great tournament Bundy Aki is having.
Yeah, there's a far greater urgency about Ireland now in this final quarter. And to be fair, I mean, when you make replacements, it does take them, you know, however number of minutes it takes for them to settle in. We've got to concede that, and Ireland are looking much more organised now, like they did in the second half of the first half, so they're looking in the second half of the second. And there may be another score or two to be picked up before this one is over. But that's a lovely try. Casey does very well, and Aki he's had another big game tonight.
He looks more relaxed. He looks like he's really enjoying this new form he's found.
Agree, that's how I see it as well. And he's you know, I often speak about the go-to players that we used to have in our day, and they're there still today. I would rate him as one of the very much go-to players in this Ireland squad. He's been outstanding in both games so far.
Well, that's Ireland's 7th try. Ross Byrne has added Ireland's 7th conversion and added Johnny Sexton penalty to that after Johnny Sexton's own try and 4 first-half conversions, and it's looking rosy for Ireland. 52-16 against Tonga.
It's a big score.
And 10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go. And lots of changes, and losing Finlay Beaton will be worrying, but if anything happens to anybody, they're going to get them straight off again.
Well, the front row is the area we're worried about, obviously, having lost Keane Healy already.
Bundyaki got across the 22. Casey kicks. It's not back on the Irish side and is hacked into touch by Ireland. Ryan Baird was up very quickly on the side, the far side, where Matthew Carley has been officiating. Hasn't had very much to do, really. Just the one yellow card. First in what seemed like a long time. Don't think Ireland can afford to, or Ireland haven't got any more replacements, so they just have to make do and mend with what they've got out there.
And for the next 10 minutes, no injuries, everything crossed.
Absolutely. Finney Inisi has come on for left wing Solomone Kata. And it's going to be the replacement scrum half to put the ball into the Tongan scrum way, or the far side of the field, the Irish left. Just outside the Irish 10-metre line. Solid scrum as it has been all night. Looking for a little bit of extra there. Oh, well tackled. It looked forward to me, but it didn't go forward according to the referee. Tonga have won the ball inside Ireland's 10-metre line. Picked up by replacement
Off your feet now.
Samisi Paia, the second row forward. Bit of an overlap here, little chip and chase for Tonga. All the way back was James Lowe. Gets it onto the left foot. Needs to curl it round a wee bit. Oh, he's done that wonderfully well. That's a very good kick under pressure.
And again, you make the point, he's swept across. He's the sweeper at the back from the left wing over to the right and clearing it.
Ireland's defence was superb. They read that Tongan movement and how the Tongans were shaping up wonderfully.
Very much.
Great tackle by Hugo Keenan. Sam Moley just inside the Irish 10-metre line for Tonga. That's a good take and a good catch, and gone to ground. They've set it up nicely. Takalua finds a couple of forwards driving forward. Ireland in the middle. Takalua again. Fafita, well, not Fafita, I should say. Havili takes it forward, and that's been spilled forward by Tonga by the replacement.
See what he does if he takes it quickly.
Fini Inisi, and it's gone into touch, and it might well be, since it was knocked on into touch, an Ireland line out. They will opt for the line out, I'm pretty sure.
Scrum.
Well, that's interesting. Ireland have gone for the scrum.
Yeah, the line-out has gone particularly well tonight, though. I don't think we've lost one, have we, Jim? I can't recall this.
No, we haven't.
Nice scrum.
And we pinched a few.
We pinched a few.
When we say we mean Ireland.
Nice balance.
There are times when you're allowed to be ever so slightly looking at things through green tinted specs, and this is one of them. This tournament is one of them. Doesn't come around very often. We have about 6.5 minutes remaining, and Ireland with 7 tries.
Crouch.
4 of them converted. 4 by Johnny Sexton, who scored 1 of the tries. And he's now the most prolific point scorer in Irish rugby history, as we keep chundering on about. Wonderful scrum by the Tongas, but illegally so, coming down and round and trying to lift the Irish front row up. And Ireland's front row in a little bit of bother there. And just thinking ahead to the Springboks, Tony. Ouch, they'll have to work in this, won't they?
Oh, me too. Like, when we find out what the injury to Beelum is, but it's an area of huge concern, because if there's any area in the entire squad we are worried about, it's the front row. And that's 2 potentially worrying injuries now. One to Healy, obviously out, and possibly Whelan.
Yeah, we have 2 very, very good starting props in Andrew Porter and Tag Furlong. The others are just okay.
Well, if anything happened to either of them, alarm bells.
Backwards.
Herring gets the ball away. Keenan brings it out the near side to Mac Hansen, who kicks right-footed down. Oh, and it's gone loose. And it's bouncing around somewhere in the 22 of Tonga. And Ireland up very quickly, trying to turn this ball over. Wayne Barnes is right on the spot, as he has been all evening. 1 or 2 decisions may not have enamoured him with the Irish crowd, but by and large, he's been his usual excellent self. Well away by Takalua. Tonga still inside their 22.
Thank you.
No option now but to kick it, and it is kicked. It's been kicked by Havili, and that's gone into touch, and it's going to be a line out to Ireland. Hasn't done an awful lot with ball in hand, Havili, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's a brother of David Havili too, isn't he? The Kiwi, who's a superb player. No, he's had an indifferent game tonight, and Ireland are finishing up where they want to be, well away from their own line. No, that's another position. We're listening to Rob Herring himself here. We're so strong at hooker as well, aren't we? There's certainly certain positions we really are blessed with the quality of players. Centre of the field is another.
And they're pretty well off for wing 3/4 too.
Yeah, they are indeed.
Well, I have to say, Bundyaki has more than played himself onto the starting team against.
That's a no-brainer for next week. He'll be wearing 12 with respect to Robbie Henshaw.
Bit of a stoppage for an injury to a Tongan player. Dave Kilcoyne comes over to the near side of the field and will whisper in Rob Herring's shell-like gear, exactly where they want the ball to go. It's the Tongan replacement hooker, Sam Moley's getting a fair old bit of strapping around his left knee. There's an extraordinary number of green-shirted Irish support. And of course, tooting over from Ireland to France is not that far, and it's probably not that expensive, despite the hike in prices by unscrupulous travel agents.
Yeah, but you're right. It is so close. And certainly, I know an awful lot of people who are over there in those stands, I can assure you, and who are heading out over the next number of weeks, as we all do. But it's such a wonderful opportunity, and so far they're living up to the expectation.
Herring throws. Oh, that's the first lineup we've lost. Pulled in by Sam Loisey, the Scarlet second row forward now, 32 years of age. The second World Cup. So I'm going to try to move it from just outside their 10-metre line, and back it comes. Are they going to kick it? Don't think. Oh, they are going to kick it. Little chip by Peter Aki down to the far side, gathered in by Ireland's fullback Hugo Keenan, and he puts in a very good kick, and Havili gets across and almost disappears over the advertising hoarding. Did he touch it, I wonder?
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think he did.
You got him, thank you.
But in terms of consistency, he's been incredible. And that's again a wonderfully judged kick.
Yes, it is. It's going to be
by Hugo Keenan.
A Tongan line out, but it's well inside their 22. Time for Ireland maybe to pinch back that line out that they lost. Long it goes by Tonga to the back. It's well gathered in. Chance now for Tonga to run it, but they opt to kick it. Every time I say something, somebody changes my mind, and Ireland just let it run, and it bounces into touch, and Ireland will come all the way back from the far side of the field to the near side of the field, and they will get a line out just about on halfway, or maybe a wee bit inside their own half. 3 minutes remaining. 52 points to 16. Ireland 31-16, 13 up in the second half. Tonga's only score in the second half, a penalty from outside half of Vili. Henderson wins the line out majestically. Ross Byrne, Aki, Byrne again on the loop. Here goes Hansen, puts the foot in the gas, gets away, running beautifully. James Lowe comes back in field, hands off a couple of Tongans, gets into the 22, leaves it for Casey, whips it in field. Henderson drives forward, pumps those big Ulster legs of his. Penalty coming to Ulster. Little chip through for Robbie Henshaw. Can't quite gather. Good tackling by Robbie Henshaw on Charlie Piatow, but they're coming back for the penalty, and it'll be into the corner and one last line out, you would think, Tony.
Definitely.
17 off the ball.
Be interesting to see. Here's Andy Farrell, a shot of him coming down now. Be interesting to see if the game goes overtime. Do they play much like they did a week ago, and just when Tadhg Byrne eventually ended up scoring our 12th try, or will they just settle for what is a very comprehensive win, 52-16 as it stands, possibly another 5 or 7 on the way.
Good kick by Ross Byrne. 5 metres now from the Tonga line. This could be the final lineout of the second half of Ireland's second game in the 2023 Rugby World Cup. An 82-8 demolition of Romania. Not quite the same, but a pretty decent performance against Tonga here. Taken in at the lineout by Ryan Baird. Ireland have got it in. Josh van der Fleer has it tucked in, and Ireland are driving forward. O'Mahony has emerged from the shadows and adds his weight to it. Ireland squeezing forward. Can they squeeze it round the side? Ball comes back on the Ireland side, and James Lowe couldn't quite take it. Not quite sure why they moved it wide. I thought they should have kept it going, Tony. But a chance it's gone for try number 8. But they'll not be too worried. Craig Casey has had a busy little game since he came on.
I think they had split. It was kind of the truck and trailer thing, so they had to release the ball. Otherwise they may have been penalised.
Tongan lineout, what are they going to do? Dave Kilcoyne at the front of the Irish lineout, 5 metres from the Tongan line. Behind him is Baird, then Byrne, then Henderson. It goes long, gathered in by Herring. Is he going to get his try? Yes, he is. Herring has got his try. One disallowed earlier, one very close, and Rob Herring has done it again. The second week in a row the Ulster hooker has got across the opposition line, and that's going to round off a pretty decent evening for this Irish side in general. Over 60 points.
Yeah, I agree. And as I said, the quality of our hookers, certainly the right man in the right place at the right time. And we're just seeing a replay here. He definitely grounded the ball that time, having gone close earlier on the other side of the field. So well taken try, and that's going to be some score, 57, possibly 59-16. That is a huge win by any standard.
Well, Mike Cattle's down there, a World Cup winner with England, having a little word with Johnny Sexton, who was grinning from ear to ear, and well he might. What a first half he put in. It's Ross Byrne, who's been his understudy for both Leinster and Ireland for a year or two or three, and hopes to be there in pole position come the Six Nations of 2024. We'll worry about that as and when. Here comes Byrne with the last kick of this, what's been an ultimately successful and pretty impressive game by Andy Farrell's Irish 15. Not much in it after the first quarter, but Ireland kicked on from then. Byrne, he's brought that in quite beautifully. So that's 8 tries for Ireland, and all of them converted, plus a penalty, and Ireland have won this by 59 points to 16. And overall, Tony, they'll be happy enough.
I think so. A superb kick by Ross Byrne to finish it off. It was a competent Irish performance. Both teams started slowly, then we took off in the second quarter, conceded before half-time, the yellow card, the try, penalty just after half-time. And then we took up that was probably the most vulnerable period, as I say, just after the half-time interval. But then we took off again, and we were really in control. And the man we're looking on the screen here, Bundy Aki, again, was absolutely outstanding in the second half period. And there were a lot of good individual performances. And a lot of the guys who came on did make their mark in that time. So there are choices for Andy Farrell. I think on balance it's a satisfying 80 minutes. And a well-deserved win, without a doubt.
I suspect that Andy Farrell came into this tournament knowing, barring injury, who he was going to play in every single one of his pool games, particularly the one against South Africa. Was there anybody here who might have been a bit close, has made themselves a little bit closer, or are we still looking at the same combinations and the same selections?
I think we're generally looking at the same combinations and selections. Obviously, we hope the front row is okay. I thought Gary Ringrose played better tonight, and that was important as well, because he looked rusty, for want of a better word, a week ago. But Aki's form and players like him, Hugo Keenan did well tonight, Mac Hansen, just moments of pure magic. Like all the bits are falling into place, and Sexton had a huge influence yet again on that opening half. He was quite outstanding. He just has that. It's not an X factor. It's an assured quality and control that he brings to the pivotal position. And every time he's there, we've got it, and others then come into play off that. So all the bits are falling into place, but they'll need to, because it's a different dimension entirely in 7 days' time. As we all know, we really are up against it when the bomb squad plus is in opposition.
The second and back row between them have got 5 positions, and Ireland have probably got about 10 players who could occupy those 5 positions. Who's not going to make the cut?
God, it's going to be hard, because when you look at the size of the South Africans and how you want to counter that, and then you look at a young lad by Joe McCarthy, who's a massive unit, Ian Henderson, whose game is based on physicality, they're going to challenge. But how do you leave out Tadhg Byrne? James Ryan is assured of being in the team. I wouldn't like to be picking that team, and yet we know what the back row is going to be. It's going to be the same back row as started there tonight. I've no doubt about that. They may look at Tadhg Byrne as a possibility at 6, but I can't see it. I think it's going to be the same starting back row here.
It'd be a big shock if they left out Peter O'Mahony for such a game.
Peter will be
given his record against the big players.
Absolutely, that's his type of game. It's made for him. He'll be there. Now, some big calls to be made, but also I think some tried and trusted are going to be very much included, and that is as it should be.
Really looking forward to it. Thanks very much indeed, Tony. Well, it was an ultimately successful night for Ireland in Nantes. If he starts up to half-time, then they eased away. 4 tries, one by Johnny Sexton, who converted all 4, 31-13. And in the second half, Ireland scored tries number 5 from James Lowe. Bundyaki got 6 and 7. And Rob Herring, having been denied one, got over. Ross Byrne kicked a couple of conversions. And to add that, there's Johnny Sexton's first half penalty. And Ireland have scampered through this one. Not altogether hugely, vastly World Cup winning impressively, but good enough to worry a lot of teams. Final score then in Nantes was Ireland 59 and Tonga 16.